This is the topic for today. If you want to discuss, if you feel as though you got a voice, you want to let's talk about this. If what's a joke, let's talk about it. If what is a joke? What are you referring to? What are you referring to, Tal? Speak your mind. Come up onto the panel. Let's speak. What do you mean? Now what? Is that what you mean? Is your response to what I've just what's on the prompt? Now what? Well, it's whatever's, bro. It's whatever's. Charlie don't care. Charlie's gone. Charlie ain't benefit. Charlie don't care if his bed's wet. Charlie's gone. Charlie's like, do whatever's with me. If you can gain from me, because Charlie is 100x. Charlie is 100x. Since he got a kiss on the neck, he has become 100x. He has become the Bob Marley. He has become the Aretha Franklin. He has become the Elvis. He has become the Michael Jackson. He has become the everything. Because he's passed on. He's 100x. Yeah, so let's talk about it today. Oh, I forgot to check the 18 plus thing. We'll leave it. We'll let TikTok manage that part of my life. Yeah. But if you guys want to jump up and let's talk. Let's get this thing. Good afternoon, Destiny. Please have a look at the room rules and the prompts. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Very well, very well. Have you been in my lives before?
No, this is my first time being in your life.
Okay. Are you calling in from the States?
From what?
Are you calling in from the States? Are you in the live from the States?
Yes, I'm in the United States. I'm in Texas.
Okay, nice one, guys. If you're in the panel and you've come into the thing, please observe the room rules. If not, they're gonna pull you down. So if you're not speaking, put yourself on mute. So Destiny,
Yes, sir.
now what? Hello?
I just think Black people just need to be a little careful, just walking around, and because watching this whole thing react, it's so funny how conservatives and white people are going crazy over Charlie Kirk's assassination, but none of them have this energy when school shootings be happening and into people losing their lives for no reason. Children, when Charlie Kirk assassination happened, we literally had another school shooting happen after that. That same day, then another one happened after that, and none of them jumped up and was screaming, rights and gun violence against the children getting shot at schools. But all of a sudden, Charlie Kirk gets assassinated. They all of a sudden care. They want empathy and sympathy for him. But I remember Charlie Kirk literally opened his mouth about empathy and sympathy that was bad, that nobody should have empathy and sympathy. And he did not want gun control. He didn't want none of that.
Right.
And I hate to say it, only person I feel bad is his children, because his children just is going to grow up without a dad. But I really don't feel bad what happened to him, because I knew something like this was going to happen. But it was really funny to me when we found out Charlie Kirk did pass away from this. Donald Trump was the first one to say it before the news.
Right.
Even some people think it was set up. Like, was his death set up just to get rid of the Epstein files? Like, no one don't want to hear about the Epstein list, because all of a sudden we're talking more about Charlie Kirk than the Epstein list.
Right.
It really don't make sense now.
Yeah, I mean, it's always one rule for them and another rule for other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it suits them, they want people to behave a particular way, and they want people to do a certain thing. I mean, I'm hearing, because I'm not in the States, obviously. I'm in the UK. You got HBCUs are getting threats.
Mm-hmm.
For what?
Don't know. They just getting threats from white people. And it was so funny when I watched the news of the governor of Utah came up and said they finally caught his assassinator, and he really said that he was really upset that he was one of us. And
Right.
I knew exactly what he meant. He really meant it was a white person, it was a MAGA person that killed Charlie Kirk. It was not an immigrant, it was not a trans, it was not these lies that they'd be spreading that we are evil people, and it's not them, it's him. It was these MAGA people that killed Charlie Kirk. It was his own people that murdered him.
Do you think? Do you think this is why, guys? Turn your mic off, whiskey, please. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Do you think? Do you think as a result of them finding out the how can I say it, the identity and status of the alleged shooter, that they're now looking for an, an anger and rage outlet, and the only anger and rage outlet they have is to give it to black people,
It was
people
pretty
of
much to
color.
give it towards anybody who is not a white Christian person,
Right.
who was against white Christianity. And that was the whole point of these MAGA Republicans coming out here with this outrage.
Thank
Like, they were
you.
so upset that Charlie Kirk got assassinated. They were really looking for it was an immigrant, or it was a black, or it was a trans. They were really trying to find this narrative of them to go out and say racial or hurtful things and made it to a big deal. So see, this is why these minority groups need to get banned. First it was immigrants, next it was trans, now it was black people. Now who killed Charlie Kirk was none of these, and now they're really completely shocked. But this doesn't shock me. The same people tried to assassinate Donald Trump was Republicans and MAGAs.
Actually,
Pete,
you're
turn off
incorrect
your
about
mic.
that.
Pete, observe the room, please.
Yeah, well, she's fucking
Hi.
wrong. He was living with a tranny.
So
He was
he was
dating
still
a tranny.
MAGA.
You want me to introduce myself now?
Have you landed Destiny so someone else can speak?
Yes, sir.
Okay, nice one. Thanks very much. Just pop yourself on mute. Thank you so much. Who else? Who else
Alexander.
came up? Because you all came up at the same time. So go ahead, whiskey.
Hello?
Yeah, hey, I guess basically I don't understand how this is getting turned into a race issue. Yeah, I don't know what that has to do with anything. The shooter is in a relationship with a trans, and I think that's what's got people pretty wound up. But other than that, I guess I don't understand the point of making this a race issue.
Is that your alleged standpoint that the alleged shooter is in a relationship with a trans person?
That's what the authorities are saying. It's not like that's my conspiracy theory. That's what the authorities are saying.
Right. Okay. Okay. Have you landed, whiskey?
Yeah, yeah.
I want to give everyone a chance to speak. This is not the lives you guys used to going into. This is my live, and I run things quite smooth here. And I'm very
I really
open.
like how you do it.
I'm very open to people speaking their mind, but please respect everyone else and respect the live room rules and guidelines. Empress, you were opening your mic earlier. You wanted to say something.
Happy that you added me. I'm happy to be here.
I appreciate
Um,
you.
I'm T from the Bahamas, but I live in America now. And I just think the whole thing is crazy because if you listen to that guy, Charlie Kirk or Kirk Charlie, whatever his name was, Um, he was a very open and honest person in terms of saying that black people are violent and all are evil, and I guess, and he was like publicly, publicly hang them in open and slay them, and he was mean towards black people, and I think. I don't wish that on anybody, but yeah, he was a sort of racial person towards black people.
So you
And I
said a
think
couple of
the exact thing the same thing that he wanted happen to black people happened to him in public.
Yeah, you said a couple of words there, Empress. You said he was honest, but he was also nasty towards black people. When you say honest, do you mean
When I said honest, I mean sorry. He was open towards his feeling toward, not honest. He was open
okay? Yeah, just
towards. Yeah.
obviously just be mindful what words you use because you're going to get held on your words. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sorry. He was
you'll get
open.
you'll get called out.
Yeah.
All right.
So thanks for adding me, and I appreciate being on your live. And I'm just gonna listen in because
All
I
right, no
am a
problem.
full-time mom of an 11-year-old son. So
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, who's
I'm
next?
just chiming in.
So I appreciate you letting me come on. I do. And I apologize if I get a little heated about it. But show me legitimately, and I'm not trying to be mean, I'm trying to be confrontational, just show me any piece of evidence whatsoever where Charlie Kirk hated on anybody.
Don't you
He
think?
admitted,
But don't you
no,
think that some of the things, and I'm just being devil's advocate here, and hopefully you understand what that means. Don't you think that some of the stuff that he was saying might be a little bit divisive?
of course it was divisive, but the truth is divisive. It's never meant to be the thing that sits there and reiterates or reinforces what it is you believe. It's not meant to.
But even
It's
if
meant to.
he,
It's meant to. It's meant to push. It's meant to be confrontational. It's meant to make you think. It's meant to make you go, is he right? Is he wrong? It's meant to make you question and figure it out for yourselves.
I would
Yeah.
say I would say, and this is just my opinion, I would say that a lot of the things that he was using to come up was
So,
deliberate to bring himself up. So
okay.
he was saying stuff that was divisive. He was saying stuff about the black pilots. He was saying stuff about
He said things about DEI, and DEI here in the States is a problem. Many people, and I'm not pointing the finger at anybody in particular, but many people got to skip the line on having things like they're skill tested, having the knowledge, the experience, the background, and whatever it is they were pursuing, and skipping that, all of that, to get hired based on things like their race or their gender. It wasn't a question of whether or not they actually legitimately had the aptitude, the skill, the training to actually do the jobs that they were assigned to do, which in many cases they're not. They're not capable. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have the background. They don't have the skill set. But they're hired simply based on their gender or their race. It's not a matter of is it right or is it wrong to hire somebody based off of skill. That's what you go to do. That's why you go to work. That's why you go to school. That's why you go to trade school. You do those things to get the skills in order to get the job that you really want.
right. Okay. So where do you think his comment about the two black pilots stemmed from?
DEI hiring practices. It wasn't a matter of whether or not they were black, whether or not they were Asian, Hispanic, or this, that, and the other. It was a way of pointing out DEI is an issue because it circumvents the things we used to as guidelines on who we hired.
So without knowing the facts, and I don't know if Charlie did know the facts at the time that he said what he said, but if you get on a plane and you see the pilot and co-pilot of a different nationality to you, would you have concerns about being on that flight?
If I thought that was a major issue, I mean, let's look over the last year and a half. How many plane crashes do we have magically happen at a rate higher than we'd ever had them happen before? People used to think that flying was the safest form of travel, and
So
statistically,
can
it
I
was.
just ask you a question based on what you just said before you trail off somewhere else? Are you saying that's attributed to people that have no skill being hired or people of color being hired?
People of no skill being hired. I don't give a shit what your color is. I don't care what your credence is. I don't care. If you get hired based off of any other merit than the actual skill you possess, you're screwing everybody else.
But how did
because
he know that those two black pilots didn't have the skill?
I don't. I didn't do the research. I didn't look into it. Charlie was usually very well informed before he ever opened his mouth to make a comment. Let's go. So somebody made a comment about Charlie Kirk hates black people because, he points out this statistic. The statistic is in the 60s when black families were nuclear families, meaning they had a mother, a father to raise the kids in the home. Black people were they had more advantages. They made more money. They were outpaced. They were outpaced to overtake white Americans as far as common household wealth, property ownership. Yeah, in the 60s. And then we get policies pushed and voted in that brought in things like welfare and EBT. And welfare will not pay you if you have a certain household income, and will not pay you typically if you have a husband and a wife in a home together.
Right, Herbal, I'm going to give you 60 seconds to land so somebody else can lend their voice to the chat.
Sure. What I'm saying is despite the fact that you may not like him, you don't have to. That's the beauty of an opinion. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like the person saying it. You can't attribute the things that he said to being racist or wrong simply because it graded wrong with you. It doesn't mean that it was racist or it was wrong. It just means it was a truth. And truths aren't meant to be pretty and packaged and with neat little bows on them. It's gritty, it sucks, but it's there to make you think and look at shit from a different perspective than the one you've been led to believe.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much for your contribution, buddy. The mic is open for the next person.
Okay, I'll go. So I'd like to make some comments. My name is Aldiana. I'm American, by the way.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. So in response to, I want to go back and say I do not condone what happened to Charlie at all in any way. I don't think that's good. It's very violent. But I do think everyone deserves the freedom of speech. And I want to say back to the HBCU part, right after this happened, people attacked and made threats towards HBUCs. And I think people immediately wanted someone to blame. So they pointed fingers at Black people, the left, and they didn't even have a suspect. They didn't even have someone in custody, and they automatically blamed minorities and immigrants with no suspect. So anyways, so they find the suspect and they find that he's like a white guy. So what do? They look for every excuse to make it about somebody else when it was one of theirs. Even the governor of Utah said, why couldn't it have been somebody else? He slipped up and said that. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
It was one of theirs, not one of us.
I personally.
I'm not done, but I like to keep going if that's fair.
So yeah. I apologize.
Yeah,
the host, want to say something to me?
Yeah, guys, just be respectful, please. Let people land, and then when you're ready, jump in.
Okay, so to go back to Kirk was not a racist. He was a racist. It's okay to admit that. You can agree with what he said, but just admit it was racist to say that. He said stuff like the Civil Rights Act should not have been passed. The Civil Rights Act made segregation illegal. So if you disagree with the Civil Rights Act, essentially you're okay with segregation, and that is racist. To divide people by race legally is racist. I'm sorry to tell you that. He was a racist. Wanting to uphold segregation is racist. I don't know what to tell you. How else, what context makes that not racist? I'd love to know that. He did say that. He said it to many times in many different videos. He said it to a 10-year-old boy. You said segregation was a mistake. How is that not racist? I'd love to know that. I land.
Thanks very much, Sagittarius. Whiskey, the floor's for you, buddy.
Thank you. So I just want to say to Sagittarius, thanks for not condoning that, because that's a breath of fresh air. As far as the segregation thing, I can't see oh yeah, I can see the comments. Did you watch full clips of him, or are you just kind of passing along what other people have said? Because in the full context of what he said about the way segregation was passed, he actually, if you watch the whole clip, this is so typical. If you watch the whole clip, he literally says almost verbatim that it should have been written specifically to address and end racism. He almost says that like verbatim. And I don't pretend to know it exactly word for word, but he does say it just like that. His issue with it was the way it was passed and the way it was written, because people are actually using it to hide behind it and get away with other things that were never really part of the intention from segregation. Like, people are using it to get away with things that have nothing to do with race. So if you'd watch the whole clip, that's what it's about. And Sagittarius, I'd like to put it back to you and ask you if you did your homework or if you have been repeating what you've been hearing in Island.
Can I respond to that? Okay, so going back to the Civil Rights Act, let's break it down. What does the Civil Rights Act do? The Civil Rights Act ended discrimination in the workplace, and it ended segregation. It integrated schools. That is what it did. That's all it did. So when I asked you, in what way would it be good to get rid of it? You didn't give me an answer. You said, oh, it may do this, it may do that. You never gave me an answer for what it would have helped. You never gave me a clear answer, because all it did was end segregation in schools and in the workplace. Like, how is that bad? How does that, like, I don't understand that. Like, what are you saying?
LOL, do you want to rebuttal that, or do you want to give the mic to somebody else?
Yeah, I'm going to pass it on for a minute, if that's okay.
Okay, Travis.
Okay, so you just brought up Civil Rights Act. So
Good
here's
afternoon,
a
good morning, Travis.
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good.
So the Civil Rights Act, if you do some research on Civil Rights Act, in a lot of democratic cities after Civil Rights Act, like New York, Chicago, Detroit, young black men prior to the Civil Rights Act can graduate high school as a licensed electrician, a licensed plumber, other constructive means and technical classes they could take. After the Civil Rights Act, they took those programs out of schools in those inner city schools. Now, as far as DEI goes, as we was talking about DEI, part of me don't like it, but part of me does. I have a mother who has polio. She got hired by the federal government in the 80s because of DEI, where she had been discriminated against for her disabilities. Now, she was a 4.0 grade student, graduated college, highly qualified. So she did, DEI benefited her. Now, the part that I don't like about DEI is we shouldn't have to have DEI. Everybody should be hired based off their qualifications alone. We do need to get rid of the systemic racism part of our Constitution, because it is out there fully.
To respond to that, so I am an architect. I design bathrooms and design these facilities that help people who are handicapped get inside the building. The Civil Rights Act does not pertain to disabled people. That is the ADA, the American Disabled Association. So you are wrong on that. Thank you very much.
Do you want to rebuttal that, Travis? Okay, LOL, the floor is yours, Senator.
Okay, I'd like to say a couple of things. I don't condone what happened to Charlie Kirk, but he condoned what happened to him. He condoned some of the words. I mean, he said a lot of ugly things. And for people to say you're taking it out of context, no, we're not. We listened to exactly what Charlie Kirk was saying. So how do you take that out of context? You cannot sit up here and tell us that he didn't, the things that he spewed didn't affect other people.
Landed.
Yeah, I have
Yes,
one
sir.
more. So I want to know like something. I have something else that Charlie Kirk said. Charlie Kirk said that Muslim people do not belong in Western society. He said that Muslim people, how do I say this without getting banned? He said Muslim people slew or slide the heart of the American society. I want to know, like, he also said that Zoran Mandami should be deported just for being Muslim and running for office of New York. I just want to know, how is that not racist? How is that not hateful to hate on Muslims in that way? I don't get that.
Can I respond?
Absolutely.
All right. There's a lot going on in here, and I'd like to take it all the way back to what we were talking about last time I spoke, because I feel like everything I said was either not heard, not understood, or completely disregarded. Charlie Kirk did not say that. He didn't just say that the Civil Rights Act was stupid and shouldn't have been passed, and then that's the end of the conversation. He actually said he wanted it more specifically angled towards preventing racism, and the only reason he doesn't like the way it was passed, not that it was passed, is because people are using it to hide behind it for getting away with other things. So and also, Sagittarius, you never answered my question. If you did your homework and went and watched him speak the full speech and debate, or are you echoing what you've been hearing online? And to LOL's point, no, he didn't condone it. What he said was there is an acceptable tolerance level of pew violence that a country will have to undergo in order to have a Second Amendment. He never condoned violence. He never condoned schmurder. He would have never condoned schmurdering a political opponent. And to even suggest that he would do that is such a slap in the face to him and everything he stood for and everybody that follows him and what they stand for. You're hiding. LOL, you're hiding. You're lying. Like, it's just literally a lie. And it seems to be all people can say about him is lies. And I'd pass it on to either one of you.
Well, I would say you might have to look at yourself, honey, because if you sit here and you make up every excuse for Charlie Kirk, maybe you really need to look and see what he's saying and open your eyes.
I really do. Before someone else jumps in, I'll let you jump in a second. Strode, I dogma. So just hold yourself for 1 second.
Dogma, yeah.
Yeah, dogma. I'll let you in 1 second. It just appears that whenever people say that, oh, someone said this or someone did that, people say no, they didn't, and I'm like, well, why would someone say that someone said something and then someone say they didn't? I just looked up what Charlie Kirk said about the civil rights on the fact check website. They're not going to put lies on there. He did say it was a huge mistake, and it was a let me just read what he said actually. He said Kirk said it was a huge mistake to pass the Civil Rights Act 1964. So what are
You're not including any context, with all respect.
I know. I'm just reading what fact checking is saying. I'm not gonna broad stroke a whole big debate about 3 or 4 words that someone.
It depends on what fact check you also use. Can I say something really quick? Can I say something I'm going to drop? I just want to clear something up because I've been hearing this a lot online, and that is that the Utah governor said that he was one of us. That is so ridiculous. If you need to watch the whole interview, the whole thing with the whole conversation What he was talking about is he was from Utah. He was a Utonian. He wished he would have come from some other state, from other country, anything, but he came from Utah. So it just infuriates me that people are out here saying that. That is not what the man said. Go back and watch the whole thing.
How can it not be if he doesn't clarify what he's saying and people are only using sound bites of what he said? If he needs to articulate himself on the public stage,
he doesn't listen. It's not a soundbite. You can go and watch it and watch the entire thing. The man said he was one of us from Utah. He came from Utah. The man said, "I wish he would have come from another state. I wish he was a foreigner, but he's one of us. He's from Utah," is what he's talking about. And if you can't see that, there's no talking, you guys. I mean, there's just no talking.
So you don't think?
Really.
So just now that you're on that point, and I'm not challenging you in any way. I'm trying to. Well, okay, she's dropped down. Anyway, Dogma, the floor is yours, Senator.
All right, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity. To specifically address some of the things that have been said, Charlie Kirk was. If you're saying that some of the things he's saying were not racist, I'm not going to say that he was a racist or wasn't, but he yelled into a crowd, "I live my life like a capitalist every day." And you know that if you watched him speak, you know exactly what the next word he said was. He used a racial slur against an Asian person in the crowd, yelling at them because he was angry. He did not fact check or prepare most of the things that he was saying. He had biases, and he literally made a living sensationalizing his views and people through those biases. Whether you can say, "Oh well, he meant this or that," when he said that the passing of the Civil Rights Act was a big mistake. Regardless, the passing of the Civil Rights Act did create a lot of opportunities for minorities, and not only just minorities and Black people specifically. Some of the aspects with the ADA, with DEI, only came about because a marginalized group fought for their rights and was rewarded for that. So other marginalized groups started gaining a foothold doing that exact same type of thing. So to say that he never said anything that could be considered racist, you are being willfully ignorant. You're choosing to ignore something that doesn't support your innate biases.
Okay. Please respond to the host.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll land my plane for now.
Yeah, host. I'm obviously getting the idea that, you lean a certain way, which is totally fine. But you just did exactly what I keep saying is happening, where you're taking a part of what he said and not finishing it, giving it context. Like you're like, "I'll read it verbatim. Here's what he said." And you didn't read everything he said. Like you're pushing this BS narrative on your live, acting like you're impartial when it's so obvious that you're not.
Okay, read it then. Read it because I've read it. Read it so people can hear it.
No.
I love that. Sorry, I have to say that. I love that response. Beautiful.
Read it, Whiskey. Read it.
I literally don't know how to pull up an internet site while I have TikTok up. Like, this isn't my profession. Okay, well, I don't do this all the time, but at least admit that you're being disingenuous. At least admit it and stop pretending to be impartial.
Thanks for your time.
Own it. Oh, here we go. The fascist will block me.
Well, okay. Let's do this. Okay. Well, we have your comment has been responded to in multiple ways. If you think just because it's not the way you want someone to answer a question doesn't mean it hasn't been responded to.
That right there. That was good.
Am I on another planet where you people just keep echo chambering yourselves the same
Ask for
thing?
A source, you didn't give it to him. What next?
Ask me for a source. He said, "Read it." I can send him a source.
Do it.
You can also take a second, put yourself on mute, and look up the source.
I
Look up
didn't
the
know if that
exact
would
source
get
that
me
he just
out of
said.
the app.
Asking for a source is
Most
fascism,
people,
guys. Asking for a source is fascism, guys.
but
That's
I
not what
did
I
say
said.
I did say I landed my plane early, but I do want to just point out something specific. So I'll humor that for a second. So to answer your question specifically, yes, he said that the Civil Rights Act should have done other things, but the fact is you cannot completely control an aspect of legislature. The point of it that the Civil Rights Act was trying to give more abilities and more opportunities to marginalized groups. And it did that. You can argue that it didn't happen the way you think it should have, or it does this or does that. You can even say that, oh, DEI lets people skip the line of merit. The society as we live in right now, I also work in a very similar field to Sagittarius. I have had YT people skip the line past me who do not have the same level of education or background that I have, simply because they are the same skin color as most of the people I work with, and they attend the same churches, and they specifically do not want me to advance in my career at that specific location. So you can argue that DEI lets people skip the line, but not necessarily. Even the way that it is set up is made to give opportunity. What you do with that opportunity afterwards is a completely different thing. You can say that, oh, just because a person is black, I wonder if they were hired because of their color. That's not the only. When you are going through a hiring process, they are not just looking at the color of your skin. They're looking at multiple aspects. What experience you have, what background do you have? Now, in some places that don't have an HR department, they can choose, and now any place can choose to just bypass that aspect of DEI or hiring. I'm not going to say DEI because that's not specific enough. They can simply just bypass hiring minorities because they don't want to. Day one, DJT ended the EEOA. He ended the Equal Employment Opportunity Act. He blatantly said we will not be prosecuting any federal cases about firings due to racial discrimination or sexual discrimination. He outright said you get to discriminate in your private companies if you want to. So, I mean,
Go ahead.
when you take away protections for people, you can argue that, oh, these laws aren't really doing the things that they're saying they're doing. But part of that is because there are still people in power that are racist. And for you to ignore that is being willfully ignorant.
Just like to ask one question because Whiskey did ask me a question, if that's okay. He asked me, like, did I watch the full clip? And there are certain things the Civil Rights Act did that bypass certain things that are not good. I want to know specifically, what are those things that are not good the Civil Rights Act lets in? Like, they haven't been able to answer that. I've asked multiple times, but like they give out these vague generalizations. Like, I want to know specifically, what is it that is being passed that you don't like?
All right, so thanks. If everyone's landed, I need to lend a voice to more people in the in the panel, and I appreciate if you don't get an answer to your questions, then it is what it is, because there's just not enough spaces. Punisher, floor's yours.
Thank you, host. Appreciate it. Hope everybody's doing good. I just wanted to say that we are wasting our time to try to sit up here and give these individuals facts, right? Because again, they're going to translate how they want to, right? In their way. They're not going to sit up here and look at it like we look at it as a blatant statement that was made, and they know it was wrong, but they try to translate for that person, right? We experienced that with Donald Trump for I don't know how long. Ever since he came on the scene, everybody has been translating for Donald Trump. No, what Donald Trump really meant was this. No, I think what he was saying was this. It's one of those things that audio and visual audio is a beautiful thing if you just watch it and listen. It's a very beautiful thing. Now, just because Charlie Kirk didn't come out and be a full-blown Southern, racist like most of them do, they just spew out their hatred with not being, kind of like reasonable. He did it in an articulate way. And just because he spoke articulate racism doesn't mean he's not a racist. So the fact that you guys are very hypocritical because you guys weren't out here beating your chest for Melissa Hartman and her husband when they were unalived. You guys weren't out here beating your chest as hard as you're doing right now for a guy who was just doing debates. Like that is so hypocritical. I don't know what, but you want us to sit up here and feel sorry for him and do all this stuff when you guys turned a blind eye to those individuals. Those individuals, she did not have the flags at half mast. She did not have the option to be laid in state at the rotunda. She wasn't flown on Air Force Two back home to where parents originally grew up or whatever the case may be. She didn't have any of those options. But Charlie Kirk does. And you're telling me a woman who was actively in the political realm and doing things and trying to make things happen, that doesn't count for anything? Charlie Kirk deserves all this stuff? It's very hypocritical. Thank you, host. I land my plane.
Nice one. Whiskey, Empress, you are the next two to rotate out. Do you want to have your last points, please, Whiskey?
Sure. So I posted 2 links. I can send them to you if you'd have the gall to post them or play them on your live. It shows the whole truth, not the little part that's convenient for you while you're pretending to be, in the middle or some kind of impartial guest. Sagittarius is gone. I wanted to touch on her point. Punisher. People aren't translating. People want the whole thing read out loud. I know the host won't play the clips that I sent him because he's a fake and a phony and only wants the part of the truth out that he likes and that's convenient for him. I hope the rest of you seek out the truth and don't stay in these echo chambers because it really is destroying your mind, your heart, and your soul. And I'll pray for all of you.
Empress, your last words? Okay, I'm going to rotate you two guys out because we need some more voices to the chat. Hoz of, I don't know how to pronounce that, Hoz of her.
I'm here.
Good afternoon, good morning.
What's
That was
up?
a good show. Oh, I think Empress is back. Y'all want to take her first?
Do you want to say something, Empress? I need to start rotating people out of the boxes.
Okay, no problem. You can do. I'm still here to support you either way.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Hoz of her. How do you pronounce it? Is that how? Am I butchering it, or is that it?
Yeah, it's House.
House. Okay. The floor's yours.
Appreciate you. I appreciate that. Yeah. I think just for me, the only thing I don't like is the misquoting because I can take a 10-second soundbite of you or of anybody and make them sound absolutely crazy. If we get like the full clips, like I'm not saying that I agree with everything that this person said, but I do think that there is like a character, I can't say the word, but like, like when you try to defile somebody's character type of thing happening because they don't like a lot of his opinions. Because when I looked up the full clips of, like, for example, the empathy thing, he didn't say he doesn't have empathy for people. He said, I think that politicians take empathy or like try to make it seem like they're empathetic towards people when they've never been in their situation. I prefer the term sympathy. Also, and I'm landing my plane now, when he talked about the civil rights thing, he said verbatim, and I'm quoting, in terms of racial equality, in terms of like when it comes to not allowing somebody into a business because of their race, the Civil Rights Act, I totally agree with it when it comes to that. He says that it's being taken too far today in terms of letting men in women's bathrooms because that's what they use in order to be able to do it. I personally agree with him. So like he wasn't saying it in terms of, oh, I just hate black people. Like I just think that we shouldn't misquote somebody and just look at the headlines.
Okay,
Hey,
just before anyone jumps back in, sorry, Punisher, I just want to reset the room. Guys, if I bring you up into the panel, you must observe the rules of the room. TikTok is not mine, but this live is mine. I try to run my lives a particular way, although I get accused of all kinds of stuff. If you do not observe the guidelines of the room, I will just automatically ask the mods to rotate you down. Respectfully. Punisher, floor's yours.
So what she just said wasn't the whole truth also, because if you look at what he said about empathy, he said he does not believe in that word. He believes that it's a made up word of the present time. So again, if you're going to come up here and you're going to sit up here and quote him, because it's all over where he says he doesn't believe in the word empathy. But in order for you to have sympathy, you got to have empathy. Both of those work hand in hand together. So again, he didn't believe in empathy. He said it himself, it was a made up word. Now, also going back to the Civil Rights Act. Now, listen, everything is not perfect, right? But for an individual like him to speak on something that black people finally got to sit up here and at least somewhat be treated like everybody else in this country, I don't think he had a right to sit up here and even speak on it. Because again, it's one of those things that you're speaking on something that you have no idea and have no knowledge about or never experienced, right? Now, a lot of people sit up here and tell black people, you need to get over what happened back in the day and everything like that. But yeah, some black people still experience racism. Some black people still go to places where they get called out or where they get looked at or where they already get labeled. So for individuals to sit up here and say just get over it, we can't get over it because it's always there. If you think racism is going anywhere, it's never going anywhere. It's not. What it's going to be is called undercover. You have a lot of people who are undercover racists, but they have consequences nowadays that they sit up here and they have to sit up here and be careful what they say. But it doesn't make them stop being a racist. They just don't do it out in public anymore. That's why you've had famous people and politicians who get busted because they get recorded in their homes saying all these things, and then next thing you know, it comes out. So it's one of those things. It's never gone anywhere. But again, he did not believe in the word empathy. He did not, and I land my plane.
I understand the thing, and just a quick rebuttal, then I'll just give up the mic. I'm not here to debate his talking points because if you didn't like what he said, you're going to hate what I say. I'm just here to correct the misinformation. People are saying that he said that he doesn't believe in empathy, and then they ended the quote there, deceptively misquoting him when he says, I rather prefer sympathy because no one else can feel exactly what a person feels. When he said about the civil rights, people made it seem he was talking in reference to racial equality. He wasn't. He said because of the fact they're using the civil rights bill, riding on the backs of black people that fought hard for that bill to allow men in women's bathrooms, which I agree with. So I'm not here to debate with you on what he talked about. I'm here to just correct the misquoting because one reason why I left the left side is because it's always a deceptive headline because they cannot necessarily debate head on with the person they're talking to. They have to lie about it and call the person a racist to shut the conversation down.
Have you landed?
The land, thank you.
Okay, Zoya, Jackie, are you there? No. Zoya, are you there? Okay, LOL, do you want to come back in?
I just like to say, when people pass away, we say a lot more kinder things about them, right? We cannot sit up here and try to pretend that Charlie Kirk wasn't racist. He was. And as Punisher said, racism isn't going to go away. And the part about that is because we're not telling the truth. I grew up in that family when I was younger. You cannot tell me that you guys didn't grow up in this racist ass families and you sit here and try to protect your families. Be truthful about it. Talk about it. That's the only way we're going to learn from it and move on. I land my plan.
Zoya, are you there now?
I'm here. There's a TikTok glitch. I couldn't see myself on the panel.
Okay,
Um,
yours.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, yeah, I don't condone his unaliving nor political violence, but I also don't condone MAGA's attempt to prop him up as some sort of martyr. Kirk had one target audience only, which was white straight males. He alienated every other group in his rhetoric, saying that the only reason women should go to college is to find a husband, to say comments like, when I board a plane and I see the pilot is black, I have to question their qualifications, saying things like Kamala Harris and Supreme Court Justice Jackson are DEI hires. And the only reason they got to where they were was affirmative action. Otherwise, they don't have the cognitive abilities to do the job appropriately. I think that when we throw these quotes to Kirk supporters and they say things like, well, you're misquoting them, you're taking out of the context, it's because you agree with them. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. You don't love Kirk in despite of what he said. You love him because of what he said. And I think that Kirk purposely went to college campuses to honestly recruit and indoctrinate our youth, just like he was recruited. If anyone doesn't know, Kirk got his leg up in high school. He was tagged by someone from the Tea Party. He was scouted by a member of the Tea Party and was told, you don't need to go to college. You're so well spoken. You obviously have passion for his edge in. And that's why he goes to college campuses, I think, in part to shape and mold future Kirks. So I'll end my plane.
Okay, Mimics, floor's yours.
Okay, I wanted to say about Charlie Kirk that like people are saying he was killed for his freedom of speech. I don't think that's true. The person who killed him was a right wing person, but also he was a violent person. He created lists for people to be harassed and doxxed, and he talked about black people who were murdered as if they were the scum of the earth, and he encouraged his following to go and harass the people who literally just had one of their family members die. You know, George Floyd, people had to watch his death on rerun for 9 minutes. And he said that man was a piece of shit, that he was terrible. And that man has a daughter. So if we're going to say that like Charlie Kirk has a daughter and a wife who was very hateful because she said, I'm gonna keep doing what my boo was doing, gang, I'm in it for the win. But it is one of those things where it's just like, who matters? This is a conversation of who matters. Does Charlie Kirk matter more than everybody else, despite everything he said and did in his life? Because he was a white man with a platform that other white people and lots of other hateful bigots lean towards. I do think that pretty much decides what side of the line you fall on, not as far as political violence, but as far as in Charlie Kirk's case, but as far as, hey, you can't say bad things about this person, and even if those bad things are things that he said, because that tarnishes his memory, but it also makes people who are still alive look really terrible because you look silly saying that I support a person who is against the civil rights movement, especially if you black, because that man said he hated MLK and MLK was terrible. And that's kind of like, I think that people tend to eulogize people very well when they die. They say like they were the best person ever, the light in the room, they made everybody smile. But it's hard to do that with Charlie Kirk because we have videos of what he said and who he was. And
Mimics, you've got 60 seconds to land, please.
I think that he was a bad person, and we should be comfortable saying he's a bad person, even his supporters. That's it. I live.
All right, Tim.
Could I?
Yep. Who wants to rebuttal that?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Zoya a question if I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
Zoya, I wanted to ask, in terms of the DEI black pilot statement, can you tell me his full quote? Do you know it?
What he said after the fact that if he got on a plane and had to question their abilities because of their black, no, I don't know what comes after that. I'm suppose it has something to do with DEI.
So I'll tell you, he said, and his full quote was this: United Airlines and other affiliated airlines has introduced a standard where they want to replace 40% of the existing pilots with black people or women. Simultaneously, they relax the standards for pilots, which number one is insulting because you should not have to do that just to add women and black people as if we need you to do that. Number two is that he said if they do that, he would hope that he would not have to look at the pilot if they're black, if they're a woman, and question if they are qualified. That was the full quote. He did not say if I have a black pilot or a woman pilot, I don't know if they're qualified. He said, because they're relaxing standards, I don't want to have to hope that they're qualified. Again, this is what I'm saying. I have not heard everything that this man has said, but anytime that I take something that somebody that opposes him says that he said and look up the full quote, it's not that. And that's what kind of gives me pause. It's like, do we actually not like this person, or is he like, you see what I'm trying to say? Like, we're just misquoting him.
All right.
Okay.
Dogma, then Tim.
I want to address a couple things, but I am definitely going to keep it brief.
Yeah.
As far as the misquoting goes, I think I'm so glad she brought up that specific quote, because that proves that misquoting was part of Charlie's agenda. He did that on purpose. The specific quote that she read said that the airlines were trying to replace pilots, and that was a purposeful misquote by Charlie Kirk. They were not trying to replace these new pilots. They were trying to create new jobs and make sure that some of these new jobs did go to women and minorities. So that's the thing. It's always, a lot of this stuff is projection, right? There's people who, his supporters, defend him with the things that they know he did. Him misquoting things was part of his style, right? And even talking specifically about other things that he misquoted, he would often, in that quote where he was talking about the pilots, he said, "Ooh boy, I would wonder if they're qualified." He himself said that. So you can try to talk about the other things that he said around that statement, but he still chose to choose those specific words. He chose to include those words in his statement. He misquoted the statistics about black crime. He specifically said black people are a minority but commit the most crime. The FBI statistics from 2023 would literally disagree. And you can defend that by saying, oh, well, the statistics are talking about per.
Tim, the floor is yours. 2 minutes.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Well, it's basically what he was saying. You know, we try to sit up there and say, like, okay, yeah, he probably said it this way and that way, but then when you really look at it, when he talking about DEI, he always put it towards black people. When it came to and black women mostly too, at that, and just like when she talking about the pilot. And like the misinformation of him saying that they gonna drop the standards of people flying planes so that they can get hired. Why would they drop the standards for people who going to be responsible for hundreds of people in the air? It's baffling to me. So he says that to say that, yeah, so I have to wonder if he qualified or not. You know, and then if you look it up and you look at DEI, who benefits most from DEI? It's white women. So he don't talk about D&I with white women. He said it's about to take a white person's spot. He don't talk about that. And then when he said that about Zoya said about Ketanji and Brian and all them, he put Michelle Obama talking about she wasn't smart enough. She didn't have the brain. Like, it was just the one person he played that said that DI got her there. But then he added other black women to that to say that they just dumb too. You know, DEI, because DEI make only hiring dumb people, and that's what he do. But like I said, it was crazy. I'm done.
All right, listen, Dogma, my sincere apologies. I pressed it too soon. You were supposed to be the first person, but I've got you. So the next person to come up in 5 seconds is Punisher, and after that, Punisher, I'm going to rotate you down, please.
Yes, sir. Not a problem. I appreciate you having me up here. But it goes back to what I said earlier. Right now, on the right, they understand that they got to speak a certain way and they can't just come out as talking as a full racist, because they're going to lose support. They're going to lose a lot of things that they've acquired over the years or whatnot. So again, they're going to talk into an articulate way, but it's still going to push a racist narrative. Everybody who said everything is true. Right? If I really truly love my person, my go-to guy, my politician, of course, I'm going to translate, reword everything just to show that support. The problem that we have in this country, even on the right side, saying that we need to unify, we can't unify until that right side starts holding their people accountable for what they say, right? So even if Charlie Kirk said those things, right, there was nobody in the audience to say, hey, Charlie, hey, man, you need to clarify that. You need to kind of like tighten that up, right? So it doesn't come off the way everybody is going to interpret it, right? That could have helped him out a lot, but that's the problem. They do not hold their person accountable. If you came to me and you say, hey, what do you think about Nancy Pelosi? I'll tell you the truth. Is she right all the time? Hell no. Has she done some things that are questionable? Yes. That's how simple it is. That is really how simple it is. The minute you let these politicians get away with what they're saying, they ignite and add fuel to the fire. This is where you get us where we're at right now. Because again, you do not hold people accountable. Start holding the people accountable, then maybe we could get along. Maybe we could unify. But if the left is doing it and the right is not doing it, there is no unity. Stop asking for it. Thank you, host. I land my plane.
You're welcome. House, I believe you're coming up next in about 3 seconds.
Appreciate you allowing me to speak. I'm going to say this for the second time. I'm not here to debate Kirk's positions. What I'm here to do is correct the misquoting. We were talking about accountability. When the left purposefully misquotes him, and there's been 3 times just on this stage that I've corrected a misquote, we also have to hold you guys accountable for that, because I think that it's much easier for you to label somebody as a monster than to intellectually best them in a debate, because he did not say that he doesn't prefer empathy. He did not say, in the way that you guys are saying, he said that he doesn't like the civil rights bill when it comes to racial equality. He was talking about transgenderism. He did not say that he would question if a black pilot was qualified or not. When we take somebody 10-second clip in a headline, I can make anybody sound crazy. But if I read the full transcript, the full video, it's like, actually, I might still disagree with that, but it may be a sober-minded position. This is just what I don't like. The blatant misinformation and the lying about your political opponent because you don't want to actually engage. It is a fact that they did lower the standards for the United Airlines. It is a fact that they were trying to introduce more black and women as well. And it is also a fact that we make up 13%, but 50% of the crime. We can talk about all those reasons, and he did. He referenced the prison to pipeline, school to prison pipeline. He referenced black fathers in the home, and he referenced culture as well. When you don't take somebody's full clip, you don't get, like, even if you want to debate them formidably. Don't make a straw man and say the full quote. That's it. You can go on to the next person.
Well, you've got 10 seconds left. I can't skip to the next person until you've used up your time.
Okay, and believe in and submit to Jesus Christ, because he's the only one true Lord. That's the one thing I want to say.
Okay, you're welcome. I'm going to rotate you down to give voice to somebody else on the panel. Mimics.
I have an issue with what she just said, particularly because people's actual humanity should not be up for debate. Like, if I went to Charlie Kirk, his wife, because she's alive, and I said, white people don't deserve to live, and then I point to the long history of like white people genociding and murdering and raping people, I don't, I as a person don't see that as like legitimate because white people deserve to live because they're alive. So is she saying like, well, people just can't debate him? The man, his whole premise was that black people don't deserve rights. We don't deserve to have a job. Trans people don't deserve to live in the world. Muslims deserve to be killed. And it's like, that's not something you debate. I can debate you on like whether going full green energy right now and getting rid of all gasoline products is good or not. You should not feel comfortable with someone saying to you, A, you don't deserve to live, and you also don't deserve rights. I think that that's a very weird position to take, especially because, like, in all accordance, it seems like this woman is black. So, are you going to give up your life because somebody said, "Hey, well, you know, I don't think you deserve to live," and you're like, "Oh, you're such a good debater. I guess I gotta die now." Like that sounds very silly. The man was hateful. He was hateful, and he directed a lot of harassment. He directed a lot of violence. He hurt a lot of people, and to try to act like he's not is very weird. I land my point.
Okay, Dogma, I believe you're next. Again, my apologies for cutting you off earlier.
Oh no, absolutely. I understand we have to share time. But I do want to kind of jump back on that same train. When saying that you're defending the misquoting, you can't defend a misquote with another misquote. You can literally go.
Bro, either your phone's died or you're getting a phone call. Which one is it?
Oh, sorry. I switched to the link. Sorry, I switched to the link. I thought it was still let me keep talking, but you can go to the FBI.gov website, and it specifically shows that she said that we are 13% of the population and commit 50% of the crime. We are a little bit more than 13% of the population. And go to the FBI website right now. It says 20%, 26% crime rates. She blatantly, and I'm not trying to debate Charlie Kirk's words. When I talk to a person who misrepresents information, I want to address the misrepresentation of their information. You are purposely misquoting things to have that agree with your biases. It is simply not true. And that's exactly a tactic that Charlie Kirk used. He specifically said in that point that, oh, they commit the most crimes, even though he was specifically trying to avoid the per capita point, and also lying about the statistics in itself. And I do want to just say that, no, I don't condone anything that happened to him. I'm not celebrating this, but DJT celebrated Jordan Neely's death. He took Daniel Penny to a sports game to celebrate that after he got off. I land my plane.
Well, it's very difficult to. Anyway, I think Manny, the floor is yours now. Welcome.
Thank you. My take on it is simply, I feel like it was fucked up what happened to him. I hear everybody going back and forth about what he said and his viewpoints and what he believed in, and to go back and forth on that, I feel like, you know, it's dumb, it's stupid, it's a waste of time. I'm more concerned about where people's minds are at, because are we going to be able to speak freely? Maybe the next person that comes around that wants to debate with college kids or whatnot, I mean, are they going to get pew-pewed? I'm just really concerned for that, because we can't tell nobody what to think, how to feel, what to view at. We can't tell nobody nothing. Everybody got free will to feel how they want to feel. So That's my only concern. Honestly, I don't have nothing to say about what he had to say because it didn't offend me. Anything that he said, anything that he viewed, anything that he thought, it didn't offend me at all. It didn't change nothing in my life at all.
Well, you already know that Charlie Kirk 2.0 is waiting in the wings, right?
His what now?
Charlie Kirk 2.0, Charlie Kirk 3.0, Charlie Kirk 3.5 is waiting in the wings to take his spot.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. And my thing is like, okay, is that person gonna be pew-pewed?
Oh no, that person is going to be very cognizant to rein in what they say about the different demographics around the world. 100%.
Right. Yeah.
It's nearly happened to the president, and it's happened to what I consider to be an ordinary civilian. Who was Charlie Kirk? Charlie Kirk weren't that special. Come
Right,
on.
exactly, exactly. Was a nobody for real. Was a nobody. And he could have continued to be a nobody. I'm done.
You're welcome. Who's up next? Number 7.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Good, good, good. What say
Okay,
you?
wonderful. So I have a slightly different take on this. I'm a legal Venezuelan immigrant to the United States, and it's been very interesting to watch what's happened in the U.S. since I've immigrated here, because it's something that I witnessed happen in my home country, my original country, prior. And I've seen all of the rebuttals and I've seen all of the well-meaning people glom on to what they believe is doing the right thing, which is this, protect everybody. It's like this, you can't say anything against trans or racism or anything. And I don't condone any of those things. I want to be very, very, very clear, not by any means. But those things were weaponized in my original country. And it actually is a very sad thing, because what it does is it takes really well-meaning people and radicalizes them to an ideology that eventually reduces humanity to nothing, where life is nothing, where the government is in complete control, and the only equality that is left is to keep your mouth shut and to starve together. And it's very concerning to me, and I don't mean to sound disrespectful at all. I don't mean it with disrespect, but America, and I can't speak of anywhere else other than America and Venezuela, but America has been so comfortable for so long that they don't understand what can actually happen.
Yeah, your time just ran out there, by the way. Okay, real love, the floor's yours. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're
I
welcome.
came up because I was in total disagreement with the young lady that came up saying that she was trying to correct misquotes. I don't think she really understands the quotes, and that's why she's trying to make herself feel like she's correcting the quotes. The bottom line for her to say that they lowered standards just to hire women and black people is really outrageous. It's so sad that we don't look at the greatest of us, because guess what? Black people work very hard. Black people are very educated, and to look at the lowest level and try to say they had to lower some standards to hire black people is just sick to me. Okay. So I think that young lady needs to pick up books. I think she needs to really get her mind right, because it's not right. She's saying that, oh, he talked about this and not fathers in the home. No, he should have been focused on his own community where the crime is. He should be focused on his community. Why is he focused on black community? Because the black community has nothing to do with him. Had he used that focus on his own community, maybe he could have saved his own life. But guess what? He said it was okay to take out people every now and then to keep the standards of having the Second Amendment. So a lot of people are saying a lot of things. I don't know why they did this to Mr. Kirk. I don't agree with it. However, he talked a lot of things into existence, and I'm going to land there. Get your mind right, young woman, and start thinking about the greatness in Black people, not the other nonsense.
Hello.
Hello, Billy Buddy. It's the floor's yours. Keep it clean.
I just say that I believe that what happened was wrong. I would not wish that on any person. Now, what he believed in and what he said, those are his choices. I cannot choose what he says that comes out of his mouth. No one can. And yes, certain things he should have said in a different way, in a different approach. But you can't make people change how they talk. Like, I can't sit and make anyone on here change how they talk. But I would not sit there and say, oh, I want to go kill someone. Well, you know what I mean. Unalive them because I don't like what they say. I would walk away from them. I would not sit there and fight with them because that's the better route. I just believe that this country has really gone downhill. I really believe that it's sad because at the end of the day, what happened to just walking away from what you don't like to hear? That is, like, at the end of the day, is it gonna affect you when you work? Is it gonna affect you when you go to sleep? Is it going to ruin your life? But is it okay to sit there and take a man's life in front of his kids? That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I'm not going to keep this rotation of one person speaking. I just want to hear. I want people to speak their mind without any interruptions. Brad, floor's yours. Brad, are you there? Okay, we're back to
Am I
Billy.
okay to speak?
Yeah, the floor's anyone now.
Oh, okay. I to answer the question of is it gonna bother you, is it gonna affect you at the end of the day? Yes. The person who shot up the Buffalo store and specifically killed black people was a fan of Charlie Kirk. The El Paso shooter was a fan of Charlie Kirk. The things that he says, the environment he creates, is not just this, oh, whimsical, well, he doesn't like black people, doesn't like immigrants, he doesn't like Hispanic people. That's okay. It stays in his corner. He was literally killed by someone who said he wasn't conservative enough, who said that he didn't hate people enough. So, in the end, literally what he was saying and how he talked got him, you know, it ended him. And I think that it's really ignorant, especially because, like, literally ever since Trump got elected the first time, hate crimes have been going up every year. To say, well, a racist with a big platform and lots of people who support him, people in government, people in the industry of movies and TVs, um, he doesn't have any influence. I think that's silly. I think if a black person ran a group and had millions of followers and they all said we should kill white people would not be taking that as a joke. You know what I mean? Like, people would approach that with the societal causes, the societal consequences that it would have if millions of people supported, like, I don't know, and a black anarchist who was super against, like, white people. That would be an issue. There would be, like, mass shootings of white people in this country. It's just that that's not the reality, because white people really have the floor when it comes to stuff like that. They can say abhorrent things and their job not be affected because there are people with millions of dollars and sometimes billions of dollars who will back them up, who will give them a job. Like the white lady who called a little 3-year-old boy with autism the N word repeatedly and harassed him at the park and raised $1 million. So it's like, let's actually sit in the fact that this man did cause people to die. He did cause people to lose their jobs. He did cause people to be harassed and doxxed. It wasn't just him saying, I don't like black people. There's a whole ideology that goes with that. You know what I mean? Like, if we want to say something recent, Haitians getting acid thrown in their car
was literally part of that because Donald Trump said that they eat cats, they eat dogs, they're coming for your families. And the KKK marched in that town. And guess what? Charlie Kirk also supported that lie. And those black people got acid thrown on their cars. They got attacked. People came to the town to try to scare them, to get them to leave. This has real societal consequences. That's the only reason why people are discussing like whether he should be killed and whether you liked him or not, and what it means to have people on massive platforms mourn this person who created an environment that was really well structured, well oiled to kill black people and marginalize people. And, that's, I land my point.
You're welcome. Anyone want to rebuttal that? Brad?
I got something I want to say because I'm in the comments right now going back and forth with people. And I think people don't understand what I'm trying to say is how can somebody's words, I don't care what he was saying, like really like understand what I'm saying. How can somebody's words that you've never met really phase you? I mean, who cares what the man had to say? If he said he didn't like black people, who gives like y'all, I don't get it. How can y'all be that upset over somebody's words? I have never given anybody that much power. You can say what you want to say. You can feel how you want to feel. It's not going to phase me. I don't understand y'all people. I don't get it.
Yeah, maybe you've got a harder heart though, Manny, right? Because some people's heart is really soft and they
sensitive, very much fragile, but it's like you can't, that's not how life works. People going to say things that you don't agree with. That's life. You got to keep it pushing.
Yeah, but the problem is when someone uses several platforms, uses news networks, uses digital apps to try and further their message. I mean, I've said it. I said yesterday and the day before, you didn't need to silence Charlie Kirk in the way that he was silenced. You didn't need to take him off the planet. If you wanted to silence Charlie Kirk, switch him off, turn off the volume,
exactly,
scroll. Yeah,
right.
Back in the
exactly.
day,
Everybody can agree with that.
back in the day when it was just radio on TV, when something came on you didn't like, you turn the volume,
turn it off. Exactly.
You don't have to take him off the earth. I don't agree.
Yeah, but I think it's bigger than what
I don't
happened.
agree with the way he was taken out. Yeah, but I also don't agree with his messages. Manny, have you landed?
Yeah.
Okay, real love. The floor's yours.
Yeah, I think it's bigger than what actually happened. A lot of things was happening in the last couple of days before this happened to this young man. So I think it's much bigger than just this one person. So I don't want to get into all the particulars of what I think and what I feel. I just know that it's much bigger than what we're sitting here talking about. Unfortunately, he lost his life. Nobody ever wants people to lose their life, especially for something unnecessarily. But I know one thing, he was obsessed with making sure that black people were under their foot. And that's what I did not like about him. I don't care what any other person says. It doesn't affect how they feel or how they think. It's just overall the fact that you're going to colleges, you're indoctrinating more younger white people into your same mindset. So you're making more and more people to be fascist, to be racist. And that's the harm to everyone. But I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. Thank you for having me on your live. I appreciate it. Everyone have a great day.
You're welcome. Brad, are you
Can
there
I
now?
say something?
Yeah, 1 second. Brad, are you?
Yeah, I'm here, bud.
Okay, the floor's yours, Senator.
Yeah, I get. I mean, I hear people. So you're saying that in 18, 19 years, he was on the internet, and the only thing you can come up is 3 quotes in a small section to put him down. That tells me how good of a man this is, because you can be on the internet for 18, 19 years and only have 3 things. People use the same 3 things. He debated everybody, every skin color, every sexuality, didn't matter what you was. He gave you a platform to talk, and people were saying he's a racist. He was a man of God. I mean, he was fundamental in everything he did. He worked really hard to get to where he was, and it's yeah. I mean, if you can appreciate what somebody does, how hard he cheated coming out of school to do this. I mean, it wasn't just given to him. I mean, he kept on and There ain't no so when people go try to debate in schools now, they're going to worry about if somebody not going to like what they had to say or take something out of context they said 2 years ago and just dwell on it for the rest of their life or until they find that person and put them in the crosshairs. I mean, yeah, I mean it's they say he's racist and everything else. Oh my goodness, that's you want to see racism, you can go anywhere and see that. I mean, he was far from racist. He was a man who tried to get other people, try to instill his beliefs, what he believed in, and he said, well, I mean, he believed in God was, I guess, foremost and family, and a lot of people have a problem with that. I have no idea why. I mean, it's if you believe in God and family, I don't see what pretty much the problem is with that. But yeah, like everybody talk about that one boy. I mean, he did have a trans friend who was his boyfriend, apparently, but that's another thing about that. So that probably upset him with what he talked about with what he reported. Which is like with him being God fearing, yeah, it probably went everything against everything he wanted to do. Yeah, so they keep cutting him down. Somebody who did all this, and he says he's racist. He's far from racist. I mean, my goodness. You can play victim the whole life you want. You can go out and do what you want. You can work. You can do whatever you want. The DEI hire, I care less about. It's all up to the person, the individual. If they want to blame everybody else, they want to blame somebody else, keep them down. That's their issue and their problem. Because everybody I've ever known in my life who wanted to achieve, achieved, no matter what skin color they were. I'm just yeah, I mean, yeah, you can't do this to somebody just because you don't like what they say. It's
This is the most fragile generation I've ever been. I swear to
Manny,
God,
Manny,
say
Manny.
nothing to them. I'm sorry. I'm
she's all
sorry.
right. She's all right. She's all right. Yeah, I mean that's yeah.
Right,
You
it's live.
stop.
Let people
Oh, you're
I
speak.
fine.
say
You're fine.
what? Can I say what I want to say
Yeah, but
now?
you have to
Go
wait your
ahead.
Because
turn.
the
Go ahead.
person
I'll land.
above,
Bear cap, you have to wait your turn, bro.
the person above. Oh, okay.
The
Let me
person
know when
above,
I could talk. Cause
the person above you, Lady T sings, has to go before you, then you go after. Lady T, are you there?
copy that.
Lady T, are you there? If not, you're gonna get dropped.
Yes,
Okay. All right.
I'm
The
here. I
floor's
have my
yours.
mic on.
Yeah, the floor's yours.
Hi. Yeah, a lot of this that I see also going on is that, what people really forget too, behind the scenes is that people that blow up on social media and are allowed platforms and things like this, people that are on different sides of each other, opposing, creating division within amongst us, the system wants to create division between us. They want people to argue, they want people to debate, they want people to be against each other. And you have to really think a little bit deeper into this, because I really think that behind the scenes, like if they want to shut somebody down for their voice, they will pull up somebody's platform. They can just poof, make it go if they want to. So these people that come up that have a voice, that create division and create all these talks between us, there's a reason for that. And the other thing is make you question, it's like, how are they not connected? Because why did he go lay in state when he wasn't even into an elected point to actual lay in state? Do you understand? And our taxpayers' dollars paid for that. You have to think that there's connections behind the scenes, that they wanted these people to come up to create division. So certain people that are on social media platforms, you really have to dig deep as into what is the behind the scenes agenda amongst all of us, and really the things that people don't think of as far as the division in this country. That's all I had to say.
You're welcome. Bear cap, the floor's yours.
Sorry about that.
Bear cap. Getting very close to moving on. Okay, Christ, the floor's yours.
Hello.
Yep, Bear cap, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So look, I'm from California, and I want to say this: this whole conversation about people are not responsible for the things that
Bear cap, I'm gonna have to let someone else speak because you keep cutting out. Yeah, go ahead.
Am I up?
Yep, you are.
Yes. So I'd like to kind of highlight that, when folks say that Charlie Kirk was a racist, right, a bigot, And they'll point to the fact that he never actually said specifically racist or bigoted things. However, to understand what he was doing, you have to look back at the Reagan administration, right? Reagan's campaign advisor, Lee Atwater. And, basically, and, I can either read the quote or I can paraphrase what he said, but basically what he was saying was that in 1954, you could say N-word, N-word, N-word and get away with it. So you can be openly racist and get away with it. But by 1968, you couldn't say N-word anymore because that hurts you because, the country had moved away from racism. So now you have to say things like, busing, states' rights, cutting taxes, cutting this, cutting that. And now it's abstract, right? Now it became abstract. And these policies hurt black folk more than they hurt, white folk. But now you don't have to say, you don't have to say N-word, N-word, right? You can get away with hurting black folk through the things you say by using coded language. And Charlie Kirk, one of the ways he used coded language, for example, was when he brings up violent crime statistics, right? Or actually, better yet, a better example is his last words, right? His last words were counting gang violence. So what did he, the question was about mass, unalivings or mass, pew-pewings. Counting mass, counting gang, does that count gang violence? Why was he separating gang violence? I mean, are folk who are unalived by gang violence, worth less than folk in other mass unalivings? And if you listen to, what these conservatives say, whenever they're talking about gang violence, they're implying minorities. So whenever they talk about Chicago, they're implying, minorities. When they say Democrats, right? They sneer Democrats. They're implying minorities. So, Charlie Kirk used this coded language his whole career. And, in the end, he was advocating, and again, I can't say, I don't know I'm not going to read his whole quote, but he did basically say, unfortunately, some lives need to be lost to protect his interpretation of the 2A. Well, his interpretation of the 2A is what made him lose his 1A rights. And that's where I'll end my plane.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to go to Manny. Do you want to have your last words? I'm going to have to rotate you down. You are the last person. Well, one of
Yes,
the.
my last words is what I said the last time about being fragile in your feelings about people's words. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be somebody else that comes along that's gonna say something we don't like. We're gonna have to just get over it and move on. I mean, I can't. I don't know. That's all I have to say. Like y'all need to get out y'all feelings for real. And black people, stop trying to keep us in a box. I don't care what that man said about black people. I don't really care. I don't care at all. Actually, I don't give a damn what he said about black people. He did not deserve to lose his life. That's it. That's all I gotta say.
All right, thank you very much for your time. Yeah, I appreciate you. Raphael.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good afternoon, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, okay. Hey, I just wanted to say, man, we're all this division and hate and fighting one another. That's just a ploy to separate Americans and to strip the essence of being American away from us. Because actually, this country was built on the freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and the right to bear arms. And they got us, these white national Christian nationalists have us fighting each other over a Christian belief that not all of us believe. We don't all have to believe in a certain religion in this country. And that is the beauty of this country, the freedom of this country. And that is being stripped away from us by weapons of WAR like Charlie Kirk was. He was a propagandist, and he was a paid propagandist by this government and by the president of the United States that's sown so much division and hate amongst us, and is actually stripping the essence of being an American because in America we have the right of freedom, religion, and speech, and a right to bear arms, and they're literally letting them manipulate you by using a Christian belief to strip that away from you. See, it was all fun, nice and fun being an American when you had your rights, even though there was slavery and G-side with the Native Americans here. But we've gone a long way, and now that they see everybody having equality and having a piece of equality, they want to strip that away, and they want to use religion as a tool of doing that. And that's what Charlie Kirk was.
Have you landed?
You could drop me.
No, I don't drop people unless you want to drop. Mimics, last words, and then we'll go to Tim.
I would like to say that people saying that words don't matter, I didn't like his opinion, so, and I didn't engage with him. Okay, cool. You didn't engage with him, but you know who had to engage with him? Black people who were doxxed, Black people who were harassed, Black people who were attacked, Black people whose family members were made fun of by him, which caused other white people to mail stuff to their house. So, like, it's very disingenuous to say words don't matter. Words are what made white people extra okay with slavery. They had to reassure themselves by saying, listen, God says a slave must do what his master says. Words matter. I've always mattered in America. And I think that it's like, it doesn't speak to being well versed in history to say a white man with a platform with a huge amount of fans who is extremely hateful is irrelevant because he's just not. This is a dude who got to sit in the room with the current president multiple times. The president who stripped Medicare and cut food stamps and has the National Guard patrolling cities right now and telling them to get, Black people off the street. That's important. And I think that we should really sit in that, even though it's uncomfortable, because it is sad to think that somebody else who you have no connection to, who you've never met, has some control over your life. But the reality is they do. They help create laws. They rub shoulders with people who are powerful. And that's why it's important that even though he's dead, we do not allow people to rewrite what his life was about, what he did while he was alive, and who supported him. That's it.
You're welcome. Tim, the floor is yours, and then we go to Mr. Who.
Yeah, I'm picking back off her like with Manny saying, about, we shouldn't let it bother us. Ain't nobody saying we bothered about what he's saying. The fact is that we wasn't, black folks wasn't the one who unalived him. So his word didn't cause us to go and pew him. So it's not like that. But we say while we up here talking is it's the thing that they are trying to push as if this man was a revolutionary, trying to make him sound like he putting him in the same talk as Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and all these people, like he had a vision, like he was preaching unity and stuff like that. Like I keep hearing people talking about his message ain't that. What was his message? What was his underlying message? That's what I want to know. Like that's what I keep hearing them saying. Like his message wouldn't lie. It will not unalive. Will not go nowhere. And everybody's talking about we gonna take up his mantle. Okay, what was his message? Well, that's what I want to know. So it's not the fact that his words, offended us or got us up highly upset. Because this ain't the first time we heard it. This ain't the first time. Like he embellished his stats. It was a video of him saying we was 13th of the population with 58% of the crime. And which is lost. And then people, like I say, even though we keep using that FBI stat, those are arrests, not convictions. Those are arrests. And black folks are the most exonerated. So how low is the 26% that the other guy showed of violent crimes that we can black people commit. How much lower that is when you factor in exoneration? Like that's what I keep trying to tell people. Y'all ain't using conviction or anything like that. Y'all are using arrest, and you know that you're gonna get arrested. 5, 10 people you get arrested for one crime. So so y'all can use that data to how y'all want to use it. It's arrest, not conviction, and people still walking on the street after they are being arrested. And that's all I got to say.
Yeah, that's another thing that I wanted to touch on. I mean, he's exactly right. He was out there saying all this, giving these false narratives and false statistics, because if you look at the actual statistics of it, white people commit more violence. White on white crime is what they need to be looking at. How does the white man take up 80% of child sex crimes in America? He didn't talk about that. So, like I said, he was a weapon of division, a weapon of propaganda. He was a weapon of WAR, because that's what we're in right now. You guys just don't fail to realize that. They have attacked our school system. They have dummied our kids down. People don't have no education, don't even have the brains to look things up. They just believe blindly what he says because of his religious beliefs. And that's where things are dangerous. And that's why our founding fathers of this country put in the Constitution freedom of religion. So you guys have lost the essence and the beauty of being an American and what the American dream holds. And you're letting these people rip it away from us, because we are getting better and there is equality, more equality than there was. This wasn't a perfect country. We all know that. But one thing I can say is that this is coming from white Christian nationalists. This division and this WAR on American society is coming from exactly what Trump said, from within their own. Because, like I said, the more equality that more people get, the more they want to take our rights away. And that's not American.
Okay, thank you for your contribution. Mr. Who?
Good morning. How you doing?
Very well. And yourself?
I'm doing well. I want to respond to both of the last people and make a statement. The gentleman before that, the guy just went, said he wants to know what Charlie Kirk's message, and what that tells me is you're not actually looking into it. You're waiting for someone else to tell you what his message was. That's just what I took from that statement. And then earlier, somebody made a comment on Charlie Kirk's conversation about I think it was gang violence. And do you take the numbers out from mass pewings? Are we removing gang violence? No. What he was asking is, are you including that? Because what often happens when we talk about mass pewings, people don't realize that gang violence is part of that. They always want to point to school pewings. He wasn't trying to point at one community. What he was doing was actually including those in the conversation. I just suggest people, if you really want to know what the message was, go listen to the conversations instead of watching TikToks, Instagram reels. Go watch the conversations, critically think about them, and engage in the conversation instead of telling other people what Charlie Kirk said and calling it
Exactly.
propaganda.
Let me ask
I'd
you
like to
this.
respond.
Can I ask this question? I have
He's
a real.
referring to
100%,
to
Mr.
my
Who.
comments, so I'd like to
If
respond.
you and I'll say before you respond, if you were able to ask me your question immediately before I answered, you didn't even spend time listening to what I said.
No, I heard exactly what you said. You didn't hear what I said. He was a tool. He was a propagandist tool, is what he was, spreading misinformation. Now, if that's something you don't want to admit or realize, it's because you're blinded by your so-called.
But he gave everybody a platform. You read
So,
your mind.
I mean,
Excuse me. Hello here. Hi, y'all. I just got up here. I want to introduce myself. Y'all seem like y'all were already talking, so I didn't really want to interrupt, but I do want to make a statement to Raphael. Raphael, what do you think about Charlie Kirk? Did you think he deserved it? Obviously, by what you said,
I think that he got exactly what he asked for. And who did it?
Exactly.
All
That's the
right.
mindset. It's a problem.
So let me say something. You said that Charlie Kirk, were you talking about Charlie Kirk when you said that he was spreading misinformation? All right. So do you think he's a racist or a homophobic or, do you think he's that? Or what information do you think he was spreading that was wrong?
I just told you what I thought.
What? Hello?
You got
What?
2 minutes.
What?
You've got 2 minutes.
I got 2 minutes. All right, but I'm asking him a question. That's the thing.
You've jumped a queue, so you've got 2 minutes to speak. Yeah,
All
and the
right.
next person will have 2 minutes.
Okay, no, I was asking Raphael a question.
Okay, that's fine. For now, you've got 2 minutes, and everyone's going to have 2 minutes.
Oh,
You didn't
okay.
make your turn in the first
So,
instance, so I'm now
all
giving you
right.
2 minutes.
Charlie Kirk did not do hate speeches or do anything or have anything to do with information that was not, you know. He just did speeches that you guys did not like, obviously, you know? And y'all just try to interpret it to other things. The thing is, that man put in money for kids to go to the White House. That man did many things that many didn't. All right, and it's like y'all celebrate this or y'all say that he earned it or something like that. Mind you, it is a Hispanic young woman saying, you know what's crazy? Yeah, I am saying this because like it's wrong. That's the thing. That's why it is wrong. Y'all need to seek God. That's what it is. Like, yeah, I am a Trump supporter. I do support all of that. I really do. I'm in the United States. Shit, I have 17 seconds. I'm in the United States and I don't want cartels. I don't want drug addicts. And that's what we have. And we're trying to take that away. And y'all obviously don't see that. So if y'all want to live in a worse world that we're already living in, then that's on you. But we just want to make a change.
Next person. Raphael.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. I think you just, you didn't listen to what I first said. And what I first said was that we're being divided by this religious belief because in this country we have a freedom of religion, and some of us don't believe the religion that you believe. We have other beliefs, and that is the essence of being American. As I was saying, is the freedom of religion, the freedom of free speech, the right to bear arms. Those are our fundamental building blocks of this country. And the founding fathers actually fled where they were from because they fled Christianity and the Roman Catholic Church. And if you want to study, look it up, and this is all history. This is all there. This is all stuff that you can read. These are facts. This isn't make believe. These are facts that you can actually go back and cite. Yeah, this country wasn't based on religion. This country was based on freedom of religion, and the thing that they're taking from us is our freedom. And that's what you guys don't understand. You're just falling into their white nationalist Christian trap. They want to put them chains of religion on us is what they're doing. And that's what you fail to realize.
So there's a phrase I want you to look up, and this is not meant to insult you, but I'm sure you'll take it as such, but it's not. This term originated during the Cold War, and it's the useful idiot, and that's someone who's unaware of how they're being used to spread the negativity that you're doing right now. You're up here talking about division, and not a single thing you said was pointed towards growth, us coming together, or positivity. You called Charlie Kirk a tool when in fact you are that tool, that useful idiot. So I suggest you actually look into your history. And when you start talking about the founding fathers and how our country is founded and built, our country is absolutely a Christian nation. That's how our laws are based. That's how our Constitution, our Declaration of Independence was based on Christian values. And if you're unaware of that, that's something that you're going to have to come to grips with. You obviously have a problem with YT people and you want to say YT nationalists. That's a you problem, sir. Charlie Kirk did not speak negativity. You're the actual tool, the tool of the useful idiot. I suggest you look that up. You can pass me along, host. One more thing for you to look up because I don't want to just have the blank air. Charlie Kirk said, when people stop having conversations, that's when the violence happened. And you, Raphael, you're up here wanting to shut down those conversations with your rhetoric. So I suggest that if you don't have one, purchase a mirror and look in it every day before you come up and tell others what they should and shouldn't do.
All right, I'm up. Anybody hear me okay? All right, so if you can't hear Mr. Who, you're 100%. They do not want to look up what he was. He was a point of the weapon to bring information to everybody, let everybody else say their information they wanted to say. He would give everybody an open platform. Um, a lot of people in certain communities do not like him. I just don't know why. I guess maybe he didn't talk about it enough, but he gave, like I said, he gave everybody an open mic. He was a very good person, very open person. Would sit there and would not talk down on you, would not scream at you in the middle of a conversation, would not carry on. He had 2 episodes where he lost his temper, I believe, but that's been over 19 years on the internet. And that is absolutely astonishing. If nobody can understand the the good he was trying to preach, the good he was saying it was in the United States, to make it better than what it is now, you take Martin Luther King. When he had this dream, did he think the black community would be the way they are right now? Would they be? You can't walk. Last time I was in Chicago, this little CVS I went to got robbed when I was in there. I was in there for 2 days and I got robbed. Tell me that we don't need change. He was preaching a change, trying to bring a change, trying to make this United States a better place. And everybody, a lot of these people want to fight against him. There's no reason. So you're fighting against yourself, fighting against your community, fighting against any kind of value you have, any kind of value he had. You're just, I don't know, becoming an uneducated person you want to become. You want to look at things, be a victim, or say, I want this. How did he get this? Or there's a million things you can do and a million ways you can complain about it. But until you do yourself, you don't.
So, you know, I've already spoken on Lee Atwater, right, and how Charlie Kirk's rhetoric pretty much parallels the things that Lee Atwater said. So, if we're going to talk about useful idiots, I think the useful idiots are definitely on the right. I was just on another live with run by black ladies on Charlie Kirk. They had an image of Charlie Kirk next to Jesus or whatever. And I read them the exact quote verbatim, word for word. Yet they still turned around and they try to twist it as if Lee Atwater was talking about how maybe conservatives wanted equality. I mean, it's unbelievable. So, don't try to turn this around. Charlie Kirk was no hero. His rhetoric, he would say he's got the statistics on something, but his statistics, the way he's interpreting them, they're, if you scratch the surface, the premise is that there's something inherently wrong with black folk. That's his premise. And he'll never come out and say it because, again, like Lee Atwater said, you can't say N-word anymore because you get in trouble. So now you have to use the coded language, and that's what Charlie Kirk did. And you can try to make him a hero. You can put up a little statue of him or whatever you want, but it's not going to change the fact that he was a horrible person, and he appealed to horrible people. And that's just the fact of it. He wrapped himself in Christianity. He wrapped himself in patriotism, but he was neither of those. He was an evil person. He was a bad person.
I just find it hilarious that people always try to throw Chicago in there. Chicago is a city with almost 3 million people in it. We're not in the top 15, top 20. Mike finally got back in the top 20 of most violent city. Y'all using a city that got 3 million people in there as y'all go to on everything when y'all want to talk about crime. And never talk about our neighbor in St. Louis or Detroit. Or Alaska is more violent than Chicago is. Anchorage, Alaska is more violent. If you go by per capita, like they say, that most everybody do. It's just crazy to me. That's what people do.
Tim, you're on mute.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. Somebody came in and I was talking. My bad. But yeah, it's just crazy they use that. And the thing with this man, Kirk, man, hey, y'all can like the guy if y'all want to. It's nothing wrong if you want to like him. That's you. But people getting up here upset because other people don't. It's all right. It's just crazy. Like everybody got to feel the same way that y'all feel about the man. And that's the only thing we talking about. Let's stop talking like this man was like I said before, some revolutionary, the greatest guy. Like he changed something. Like I said, y'all, and people want to say, well, y'all asked when he talking about the black people. No, only reason they asked because he was talking about black people. That's why we asked him about it. When they go to these things, why not talk about white on white crime? Y'all got that too. It's like y'all act like y'all house don't stink too. Like y'all ain't got no problems. White people got problems too.
All right, Dogma, you're back.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Yes, I am. I did have a couple things, but I do like to let some things come up naturally, and something has come up naturally that I do want to discuss and relate back. So, another thing that person is no longer here, but was talking about people using some of these things like DEI, like civil rights movement, to hide behind them and accomplish other things. I think one of the biggest things that people are using to hide behind and accomplish other things is Christianity as a whole. People are, even in the way that some people have phrased it, oh, Charlie Kirk wasn't a bad person. He was a Christian man. Saying that in that pattern insinuates that you cannot be a bad person if you are also Christian. And that is a root problem when you're trying to really discuss the impacts of what a person said. Just because someone calls themselves a Christian does not mean they are behaving Christ-like. Just because someone prays about something doesn't mean the thing that they prayed about was okay. Even if they prayed about it and it made them feel like what they did was okay, that doesn't make it so. So you really have to go off of the things that he actually said, the things that he actually stood for. I still have not heard one person, they want to talk about a lot of other quotes, but talk about him calling a Asian person a Asian slur, and he didn't know what actual ethnicity this Asian person was. But how was that not a racist act? If he wasn't a racist, if he didn't believe in supporting racism, why did he yell that into the crowd as soon as he was upset? I'll land my plane on that. I would love to hear somebody defend it.
Right, we're going back to open mic. Be respectful. Be adults. Be respectful. Debate. No attack.
So just real quick. I'm sorry, man.
Stop. Turn off your mics. Introduce yourselves. No attacking. Debate. Don't call people out. Let's be like adults here. It's open mic. If not, I'm going to go.
Okay, Texas, Harris. I don't know what else you need to know. But hey, I mean, the previous person who just spoke, yeah, I wouldn't want to repeat that anymore because the reason people think he was saying, using the Asian racial slur, but he wasn't. He was saying somebody's name. Chink Uger is
Yeah,
the guy's
his
name.
his
So
name's
yeah,
Shank.
you might want to just
Yeah,
just
yes,
look that up and you'll see it.
it's from the Young
Now,
Turks. His name's Shank.
right. So Mr. Who though in particular, so you brought up what I had said about Charlie's
Hmm.
last words, right? And you're saying that he was asking because you're saying that he didn't want to split up the mass unalivings, that he
Hmm.
wanted to make sure that they were combined, and that is untrue. Because
Okay, tell me why.
I've had the conversation not with him, but I've had it with other people who are pro firearm, right?
Hmm.
And they always try to split up the different types of mass unalivings. They don't want to count it as a whole, right? So they want to count maybe just school ones or the ones that make the news,
Hmm.
and then anything else. It's like if it's gang related. Now, why would it matter if it's gang related or not? Because the premise is that minorities are the ones in the gangs, and the premise is that black folk are more violent than others. So that's the whole premise. And again, going back to what Lee Atwater said, Charlie Kirk is using
But hold
those kind
on.
of tactics, right? Go ahead.
Well, hold on. Stay with that. I disagree with you. So I live in Baltimore,
Hmm.
and this was maybe 8 months ago. I was shocked after there was a an event in Baltimore that actually on the bottom of the screen that on the Chiron they called.
Hmm. You're muted. What happened?
Whenever he finished, I like to speak on. I like
My,
to speak
my wife's
on.
my wife
Yeah.
keeps calling me. They called it a mass pew pewing. I had never seen that done before on the news because traditionally, if someone goes to have the conversation about mass pew pewings, it's at a mall or at the school, and you
No,
forget that any. Okay,
that's untrue. So
No,
you must be right. You must
no,
be right in the
there's a
middle of my sentence. But
so
go
so
ahead.
here's
hey,
here's the thing.
First, like, let
When
me
when
say
people
one thing.
when we're looking at mass, pew pewings, right? There's different standards, right? The FBI uses one standard. Some news organizations use a different standard, and the basically the standards are, you know, if it's more than one, more than two, more than three, or sometimes they include the pew pewer, sometimes they don't, right? So those are the different divisions of it. But overall, those are mass pew pewings. Okay,
But
but
the
again,
thing
what
is,
what what Charlie Kirk tries to do, and other people on the right try to do, is they try to split out the gang related, anything that's gang related, right? They'll call it gang related, and they'll call it gang related if there was black folk unalived, because again, the premise is that black folk are members of gangs, and black folk, are more prone to violence, and
no, no,
that's what Charlie Kirk was doing.
the FBI categorized it different. That's how the FBI does, and that's how we was going by for most of the time when I was younger and growing up. That FBI calls mass shooting, mass pupilling, as a person who goes out and just randomly pick people off in a mass pupilling with in gang violence was separated because it wasn't random. It was at people who they most of the time have beef with, so they knew what it was. It just and they already knew it had a motive. It had a reason because it's that's just like a family. A man could unalive his entire family with a pew pew, and they won't call that a mass pew pewing. And
So
it
so
could
let
be
me so let me
five.
ask you. So let me ask you, when somebody does a drive by, are they only hitting other members of gangs, or are they hitting random people who had nothing
But
to do with
it's
the
still
gang?
they puke on mostly at the person who they at. They might hit an
Right, right.
innocent
That might
victim,
be the case. That might be the case. However, they
but
they they
it
they
wasn't
usually
never it
hit.
wasn't never called a mass puking
But yes, it
until
was.
people start trying. Because people,
No.
until people start when we had the thing when they were saying 80%, 90% of mass people is white males, and then people start trying to add gang violence into that to lower the number of the percentage of white males. They say, well, why you and add this one, this
Uh,
gang violence, this black this, so they can lower that to make it
okay.
seem like
So
it
do
was less white men doing it, white people doing it than black people.
okay. So do you accept the premise then that black folk are more violent?
No, I don't. That ain't what they're saying. It
But
just got
that's
in a different
Absolutely
category.
not.
They
but
got
Absolutely
that's
they
not.
the
got
that's
they
basically what that's implying though.
no. It's a different type of pew pewing. Like I said,
But are okay.
a man
However,
allowing his family is not putting into a mass a homicide.
why not?
It's putting in a different thing.
It's still a mass unaliving.
But it's not put in the category as a
It
mass pew
but
pew.
it is.
Let
Okay,
me let
so
me say.
maybe the
Can I
point of
say
contention
something?
then
Can I
the
say
point of
something real
contention
quick?
then is what we consider a mass unaliving or not.
Can I say something real quick? If you want to really narrow it down into that demographic, all you have to do is look at 97% of school pew pewings are done from the white demographic, and they're done with legally gotten firearm. Pew pews.
But if you go by that logic, you go to these big cities and 99% of the crime is done by the black community.
Okay, so what does that imply
It's
then? I
not
mean,
true.
why is that?
I don't know. Why is that?
You don't know?
It's a
Okay, could
the
it be with
structure.
could it be with socioeconomics? You know?
Now, see, that's another
No,
thing.
it probably be
You gotta
with
come with some facts. You gotta come
the
with some facts when you say some 99% of
Yeah.
well, I mean, no, I
crime.
mean, that was just
He has
hypothetical.
no
But when
facts.
I go,
No.
whoa, hang
What I'm
on.
saying,
Like
you
you
can't
said,
say
I'm
on
No,
first
let
going
him
to say something
speak.
hypothetical
about.
like that, though.
Well, I said something about Chicago a minute ago, correct? When I was born in Decatur. They called Decatur still Chicago. So I've been to Chicago many times. In Decatur, where
I
I
lived
lived
in
at, they
Chicago.
got streets barricaded off now. We can only come in one way, leave one way,
Mhm.
because the crime's so bad.
Okay.
No, they
So
But
you
don't.
talk
why?
about big
But
cities. I've
again,
been to
but
many of them.
okay. But
You
you're
know,
telling
Rockford,
us how it
Illinois is
is,
worse
right?
than Chicago. Do you
Mhm.
know Rockford,
Sir?
Illinois is worse than Chicago?
I can't.
Rockford,
I'm sorry. Say
Illinois.
again. I'm sorry to hear you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said, do you know that Rockford, Illinois is worse than Chicago?
Yeah, I know Rockford. You got Gary next to it too. Gary, Indiana is a really bad
And
place
you know
too.
it's more violent. It's more violent to live in Rockford than it is Chicago, right?
I'm just saying, I'm not going to walk down
Like,
Chicago in certain
So
areas at 11 o'clock at night because
but
I know what'll
you
happen.
will more likely get in a violent crime in Rockford than you do in Chicago.
Yeah, how about me in Chicago? You walk down the
okay.
same street I can at night. It don't matter what color I am, you're in trouble.
Look,
I've done this
I'm sorry,
before.
but
You
you know,
you you
it's
do
what he's
you
saying.
do realize
This
you do
conversation,
realize that
this
all of the
conversation is
violent
irrelevant.
cities are red,
Yes.
This
right?
this is irrelevant. No,
States.
no. Hold on. Let's get back to the point,
The
right?
cities are most
So
the
so
cities are blue, but states are
what
red.
you're
Yes.
saying what you're saying though is that black folk commit 90% of the crime or whatever. That's what you said. Something
Well,
like that, right?
hypothetically, yes. Hypothetically,
Okay,
something like
okay.
that. Yeah.
And you kind of take it back or whatever. That you're kind of waffling back and forth. Well,
No, I'm not
but
walking
that's
anywhere. I'm just telling you.
okay.
I've lived
So
it. I've
that's the
been
kind of
there.
thing.
I've been.
Those are the kind of
No.
things. Those are the kind of things that Charlie Kirk was pushing, right? Saying things like that, and
Is that what
that's
he's
easy.
tell me? Tell me
That's
what he
just
said.
that's just
Wait,
easy
just
to.
tell me what he's.
Hold
He gave
on.
facts. Correct. I'm
It
sorry.
doesn't
Go
matter.
ahead.
That's
Yeah,
easy
it
for
does.
him to
Facts
say,
do
right?
matter. But go ahead.
That is easy for him to say. Okay. So
Yes, because it's facts.
accepting what he
But go
said.
ahead.
Okay, accepting that what he said. Then the next question is why is it that way? Again, is it because black folk are
Because
inherently more
people do not
violent?
want to change the way they've been living. I mean, it's pretty
Hey,
much
So
you
brother,
your
so
per
black
no.
individual. Well, hang on, wait,
so
please let me
black folk like
finish.
to live
So
like that.
no individual person can make his own
Hmm.
decisions. Can
But
go.
we're talking about
You got
but
to
we're talking
better
about
yourself.
90% of
Ain't
black
nobody
folk.
going to help you. You can't depend on other people.
So 90% of black folk don't want to help themselves. You're saying.
I'm saying people. If you don't want to change, what's going to
No, no,
happen?
no. You said 90% of black folk
Well,
commit.
okay, I
You said
got
it
you.
was a
So,
fact. You said it was a
okay, but
fact.
go ahead.
So
Yeah,
why?
you're right.
So
Charlie Kirk
90% of
Jr.
black folk don't want to change. That's what you're trying to say.
If you want to make a change, you can make a change. I'm saying
No, no,
nobody
no,
can make a
no.
change.
Come on,
So
say
they
it,
want
man.
to
Don't be
no. What I'm
afraid.
saying is
10 toes
they're
down.
happy to stay where they're
10
at. What
toes
I'm
down,
saying.
dude. Say it.
Well, listen to me. What I'm trying to say, they're just as happy where they're at right now. They don't care if they're living filth or not.
Night,
They're
night.
just as happy.
and
So
that
there you
ninety
go.
percent and that 90% doesn't
Well, I'm
want to
just saying. I
change.
mean, that's real.
So
I could
it's an
go.
inherent flaw. So basically, you're saying it's an inherent flaw with black folk. That's what you're saying.
No, to a point that they didn't change the way.
That's the
So,
premise, though.
oh
That
my
is the
God,
premise
no,
of
man,
what you're saying.
you're just all
You're
you're
not
doing is
understand.
just trying. All you're just
You're
saying
not.
is
In,
shit you want me to say. No, no, what I'm saying, they do
I
not
know
want to
you're not. You're
change.
not going to say it.
They want everybody. They want
You're not
everybody
going to
else to
say
take
it
care of
because you
them.
know it's
Is
wrong.
correct? No, I'm going to
It's
say it
more white
because oh
people
my
on
goodness.
welfare than
So,
it is black
well,
people,
I'm
bro.
just telling you.
More, more
You
people
don't
look
want.
like
They don't
black
want to
people.
look.
No,
They don't want
we're
to look to
hearing you.
themselves and see
We're
how much
hearing
problem
you.
they're doing
No,
right now.
we're
How much
hearing you.
problem are
Most
they
of the
causing in their
We're
welfare
communities?
hearing you,
ain't
and
I'm
black,
telling you,
these
right?
are the
Tony.
things Charlie
And
Kirk
so
said.
how much problem in their community are they doing, and how much of cleaning up are they doing?
That's what
Tell
Charlie
me. That's
Kirk's
simple.
pushing. That's what
No, no, no,
Charlie
no.
Kirk is
Tell me. It's
pushing.
simple. How
That's
much
exa-
problem in their neighborhood, and they're not cleaning it up? How much? Oh, I'm gone. They kicked me. Oh, never mind. I'm here. No, sorry. So, how much problem in the neighborhood are they causing, and how much cleanup are they doing? They're not doing this at all right now. They want to live the way they want to live, want to unalive each other at a historical rate from any other race. If you don't want to change yourself, you're never going to change it. You can't blame your problems on somebody else. What are they doing? It's not nobody else's fault but your own. If you don't want to get out of where you're at, you're going to stay where you're at. If you don't want to work's too hard, or you're mad because somebody else got I don't know, got that job and you didn't. You're blamed on everything but yourself. Well, if you want to play victim mentality the rest of your life, that's what you're going to get. That is pretty much it. I've I worked for everything I've had since I was 12 years old. I could walk down my neighborhood at 1 o'clock in the morning, or I could walk down my neighborhood at 10 o'clock a day. It does not matter. Nothing will happen. So it's been like that. And that's why I moved out of the city, because they were bad. I watch people run by me, just emptying the purse out, just running right by, just stuff going on. Watch people get robbed. I watch somebody stand in the middle of the road and 20 other people come out and hit the car and drag them out and take all their stuff, take the car. I mean, I got away from that because it was bad. And that was back in the 80s. It was bad then, and it's even getting worse. So why is that? I'm all for somebody let me know why it's still the same way and getting worse. There's no accountability. It's the way you raise your children, or what is it? No, I mean, we can have because where I live at, everybody gets along. There's not no black person talk about the white person talk about the black person. It's not. In big cities, it's a different animal totally. They, I don't know what they expect to happen. I don't know. It's just totally different. That's why I got out of big cities. Only time I go to cities when I go to work anymore. And it's
so I mean, you kind of need a history lesson because you just talked a bunch of stuff at typical conservative talking points. If you look at the history of this country, right back in the 50s, we had a deal for supposedly for Americans, Social Security, free college education, things are a lot better, and for white folk, because black and Hispanic folk were excluded. But people liked those programs. They were great. They were perfectly fine with those programs. 64, 68 came around, the Civil Rights Act. That's when black folk and other minorities weren't, they weren't allowed to be discriminated against anymore. And that is when conservatives turned against programs like Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, any kind of social service, even education, any kind of social service that would help minorities. Conservatives turned against. And you keep going forward. You guys are against DEI, affirmative action, anything that would help, minorities get ahead, you are against. So basically, you're playing, it's like a ball game, right? Baseball game. You're on second base, while, other minorities, aren't even in the park yet. That's what you don't understand. You think when the Civil Rights Act was signed in 1968, that that automatically everything became equal. You know, I my age is within 1968. I was alive in 1968, so it hasn't been that long. And you pretending that oh, we should just be equal and people are able to do whatever they want. That's not how it works. Racism has continued in this country.
Huh. Um, yes. So I do agree with what has been being said. You know, racism is definitely continuing in this country. There's because some law and anybody who has been actually affected by these things, who's comes from a family who was affected by the civil rights movement, will tell you people's emotions and feelings and thoughts did not change just because the law did. Um, my mother was one of the first people in her neighborhood to have to go to segregated schools. And the stories I grew up hearing, the things it did not end. To address some of the things said before, yes, he was talking to a person whose name was very close to that word, but he was talking to him, casually before that. He didn't call him by name, as people say, until he got angry. So he did make a decision to not use him by name very carefully because he knew what that name sounded like before, but the second he got angry, he lost that composure. That wasn't the entire point of what I was saying. I started with the fact that Christianity is one thing specifically that people are using to hide behind. And I do think that is a considerable problem. Just because someone is a Christian doesn't mean that they are a good person. And many people on a particular side of this issue use that Christianity to absolve themselves of any actual culpability versus actually being a good Christian. They use it in reverse. They do bad things and then say, "Oh well, that wasn't my intent, obviously, because I'm a good Christian."
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying earlier. He was a propagandist tool, and he's pushing this Christian belief and using it as a weapon, as a you know what I mean, to manipulate these people into believing, into giving up their rights, and to begin. They want to take the essence of being an American out of America, and the funny thing is, they're doing it from within, and they're blaming it on minorities and 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 other demographics that marginalized communities that don't believe in their beliefs, in their religious beliefs. And as I said, this isn't a Christian nation. No matter what that idiot was saying, this isn't a Christian nation. This our Constitution wasn't written by the Bible or for the Bible or according to the Bible. I don't know where he got that from, because it was totally opposite. They left persecution from Christians and the Catholic Church. That's why America was built. That's why the 13 colonies were built. And on top of that, them people just came over and stole from the indigenous people. This is not even their land, if you really want to get technical. But if you want to build a relationship and build a country, let's look at the facts that the white nationalist Christian movement is destroying us, is destroying this country. They are the enemies, destroying it from within by their radical propaganda that they're spreading. And I'm a Christian, but I'm not that kind of Christian. You understand what I'm saying?
Uh, all I'm gonna say real quick is this: we could talk about the black neighborhood all we want to all the time. Yes, we need to fix what's going on in our communities. Yes, we do. But let me go ahead and let me start off with I'm gonna have a live talking about what the white people need to fix in their own community. How about white people stop being edophile? How about white people stop being mass pupil in schools and everywhere else? How about uh, white people stop being on opioids and bringing all that stuff in? How about white people stop with these grand larcenies and stop stealing people pensions? You know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, we got stuff we need to work on. Y'all got stuff y'all need to work on. And that's it. I mean, all this stuff, y'all won't just hop on us and act like our crime is just worse than your crime. All crime is crime, and you can do time with whatever you do. So talk if you're gonna talk about us, talk about y'all too. That's all I'm saying. You know, but y'all just want to act like we the one who messed up this state this America. Y'all started off messing up America. Well, you know, y'all had us in chains, then put Jim Crow on us, and then y'all the one who taught us about game. You know, y'all forget about Al Capone and Irish mobs and all these other people. We learned from y'all. You know, when y'all was poor, that's what y'all did. Y'all turned to crime. Y'all turned to crime when y'all was poor. If you go to these poor white neighborhoods, they doing the same thing. So we can flip it on y'all too. We can talk about y'all. That's it.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being patient. We're gonna go back to open mic, and hopefully we can be civilized. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, here we go. Open mic. Open mic.
I like to keep my mouth shut and just listen, you know.
Mhm. Yeah. So I mean, it's we there's the pro the problem in this country is that some people, particularly on the right, do not understand that our history, even if it's 200 years ago, does affect our current reality, right? Because 200 plus years of legal, you know, bigotry, racism, slavery, all those things, 200 plus years cannot be made up with, what, 50 something years of civil rights. So, and even after the Civil Rights Act was signed, right, as the other gentleman was saying, when the schools were, when black folk were allowed to go to the regular schools with other kids, that's how, private schools came about. Private schools became popular with that, because that way white folk were able to get away from black folk. And think about today, I mean, that was like less than 50 years ago. Think about today. We're talking about school choice, and giving vouchers to people to send their kids to private school. You know, a private school costs a few $1,000s. They give you $1,000 to, $1,000 to send your kid to a private school. What kind
Yeah.
of a private school are you going to send them to for $1,000? You can't
Excuse
send
me.
them to a good one.
Excuse
So
me. Yeah.
basically,
That's what I was saying. They've been attacking the education system for years, and like you said, it's okay when the white man has everything they need, Medicaid, all the benefits that they're the ones who have, and they're the ones who use, and then they're going to say, "Oh, we're abusing the system." Illegal aliens and this and that, because they don't even have the benefits. They don't even have
All
that
right, hang on.
option.
Let me cut this up. Before the civil rights, everything got passed and whatnot. The black community almost had everybody graduated. Father stayed in the home. What direction has it went now? I mean, before that, I mean, you'd have good family-oriented people, and now it's not the same. I mean, what changed? I mean, they got this after civil rights. I mean, this happened. I mean, this is actually true.
well,
You can go
but
back and look this. This is actually a fact. I mean, what actually changed in the
so
last 60 years?
yeah, I can help you with that. So
Okay.
what changed was that, you know back in the 50s, right? Black folk were,
Remember, this is a family. It's a father staying at the house,
yeah,
is what
yeah,
I'm
the
asking.
father, yeah, everybody stayed in the house, whatever. They had really, there was no other, no real opportunities for them, so they had to stay close together. They couldn't really go anywhere. They couldn't do
So
anything.
you're saying so when they disrupted the family, when they had more opportunities, the father left, is what you're saying.
Well, what disrupted it
That
was,
makes no sense, but go ahead.
what disrupted it was where these benefits that were supposed to be coming to all the people, that's when they started getting cut off, right? That's
What
when,
benefits?
Social
Really, I mean,
Security, things like Social Security, Medicaid, education.
well, I mean, I'm telling you right now, if you depend on the government for stuff, you're going
Food
to be
stamps.
waiting a long time. I mean, it
White
don't
men,
matter
white
Well,
what.
people
well,
use more food stamps and Medicaid than any other
Oh yeah,
demographic.
they probably
so
do. I don't doubt that a
so
bit. But I'm
so
saying I grew up. dirt poor. I mean, I didn't
Hmm.
have nothing, but I still had to work and do what I had to do and get things done. It wasn't ever easy. I mean, a lot of times I
So
ate bread and mustard for breakfast. I mean, it's not nothing new. I mean, you have to deal with bad things in your life. I mean, everybody does. You
And
just
that's a
gotta
shame.
right,
And that's a
advance.
right.
shame for you. That's a shame for you to have to struggle like that, being what you are, because you had every opportunity given to you, and we're the
Man, no, I
opposite.
don't want to hear that shit.
I
I got three
yeah,
We're
guys
the
working for me.
opposite.
I know
Well,
you don't want to hear it.
hang on.
No,
I got
I
three
know you don't
people
want
who
to hear
live
it.
with me
No,
right
no,
now. No,
I
no,
know
no,
you don't
no,
want to
no.
hear it.
Let me
I
talk. I got
understand you
three
don't want to
people
hear it.
who work
I
with me who are
understand
all
you don't
who are
want to
different
hear it.
color. The other three people that work with me are different
I
color and they have
understand
the
you don't want
same.
to hear it.
They do the same job, same
Problem.
thing
I
I do.
understand
And
you
That's
there
the
you
don't
go. I
want to
problem.
mean,
hear it.
if you
White
want to
man
accomplish something,
I
does not
understand.
you can
admit
play victim
when
mentality your
they
whole
are
life and
wrong.
live the way you go do and
You
blame
don't
everybody
want
else
to
for your
hear
own
it.
Stupidity.
problems.
You don't
Your
want to
own
hear it.
problems will bring you.
You don't want to
I'm
hear it.
sorry. Sorry,
However,
host.
there weren't laws specifically written to keep you
They won't
out
let me
of
answer
away
my
from
times.
wealth. I
Sorry.
know you don't want to hear it, but there was things like
I didn't see
redlining.
nobody here.
There was things like redlining. Veterans, black veterans who came back from World War II, they weren't privy to the GI Bill. They you
Okay,
know
what
they
question
they
I
weren't
asked you is
privy to
what's
buy
changed
to
from
buy
then
able to
to
buy
today? You're
homes
not
in
answering my
nice
question. You're
areas.
just rambling.
Well, I'm
You're
telling you
rambling,
right now.
rambling.
I'm telling you, you just
I
don't want to
no,
hear
I
it.
mean, go
You
ahead.
said yourself you don't want to hear it. You don't. You
No,
said
I
I
didn't.
don't want to hear
I
it.
was talking to the
I
host,
know
not
you
you.
don't want to hear it.
I can tell you what
Oh my
happened. I
goodness
can tell you what
gracious.
happened. I'm gonna tell you
Here
what
we
the
go.
problem is. You see, I'm gonna tell you what the problem is. You see, all these other demographics getting an education, getting spots in government, and so the white man is afraid. They're afraid of what they're gonna or what's gonna happen to them because they're becoming the minority now, and they're not getting the education that we are taking the opportunity and getting nowadays. That is what's changing.
Yeah, and
And
speaking to
also,
speaking to
I
your point, right?
I don't really
Speak,
care. I mean, it's just you guys can make whatever
Raphael's.
opportunity you want, but you don't want to make the opportunity. You want to blame people for the opportunity you ain't making for yourself. Really, I mean,
And that's why
Speaking to
you're
your point,
scared.
Raphael.
you sound like you're so
Speaking
opportunist.
to your point,
Goodness.
Raphael. So here's the thing, Raphael. I looked up, like the demographics of folk who work in government, right? And the demographics of folk who work in government are pretty much aligned with the population of the United States. You look at the percentages more or less. There's going to be more white folk. There's going to be less Hispanics, less black
Well,
folks. So so
you
history.
need to
So
shorten your
so
stuff. You're
let me let me
monologuing an
let
awful
me
lot.
finish let me finish talking
You're
here.
monologuing.
So the demographics of people who work for the
You,
government kind of match the demographics of the United States, and that is what conservatives don't like, because in the government, before, now you can, but before you weren't allowed to discriminate. They really paid attention to that because it was open, right? Anybody can look and they can see
Pat, all
who's
right,
working, right?
you've been monologuing.
in private
All right.
in private
So
in
hang
private
on.
companies in
You
private
won't stop
companies
talking. Hang on,
they,
quick.
they can
Hey,
hide they
let
can
him
hide that.
finish, man. Let
they,
him finish.
I
He's
know
on a good talk.
he won't
in
stop talking
in,
though. You
in
got to land
private
his
No,
plane a
in
little
private
quicker.
companies
let
they can hide that.
Christian atheist finish.
So, what DEI, and it's DEIA, right? Diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, right? They never say the A part because the A part is for handicapped folk. So it's actually DEIA, and all that's really saying is
He didn't
that
even know that.
if you're gonna make the job available,
Holy cow.
you need to make the job available in all communities. So you can't just put the job and post it at, like, say, a majority white area. You have to make it posted in places where there are other folk. So
Okay.
what
Now
conservatives
let me
want to
go.
do is
Oh my goodness. Okay,
they
oh
want
my
to
goodness. Would
conflate.
you won't no, you ain't gonna stop
What
talking. So
conservatives want to
well,
do
let
is
me
they
tell you.
want to
So
conflate
when all these
they want to
businesses
conflate
come to these areas,
DEIA
goodness.
with with see, now you made me lose my. They want to they
You won't
want to
shut up.
conflate DEIA
You're the one
with
who's not
affirmative
shutting up.
action. They're saying it's the same thing, but it's not. Affirmative action is a different thing, and affirmative action is something that would go a long way to helping black folk as well, because companies should also reflect the diversity of the population, just like the government jobs used to. That's how private companies should be as well, and it should be transparent. We should be able to see it. And
Okay.
it's conservatives who are running around saying, "Oh, oh, I'm a better qualified white person," and I lost my job because they put in this underqualified black person just because of affirmative action. And you kind of did hear, this guy saying it, right? He pretty much said it. He's talking about how you're not letting, that you have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you can't get any of this help. You just have to be able to do it on your own. But that he said, he might not know it or he might not want to admit to it, but he's had all that support all along. And if he didn't take advantage of it, that's on him. Just because your family wasted their opportunities, whoever your great uncle drank all the wealth away or whatever, that's your problem. But you know it wasn't until 1968 that black folk and other minorities actually, by law, were allowed these opportunities, right? And even then, conservatives have been going out of their way to block it. And again, I take you back to Lee Atwater. They're going to push policies. They're not going to say it. They're not going to say out loud that, N word, N word, N word. But what they will do is they'll do things that hurt black folk and minorities more than white folk.
Yeah,
And white folk like that.
and that's exactly
that's
what I'm saying. You
that's what
understand
conservatives are doing.
Yeah, they are.
So
And another thing that drives me crazy is the hypocrisy of the whole thing.
absolutely. Yeah, I got
It's
25
even
seconds. So I guess I'm on a timer. So yeah, that's the point though. That's the whole point of the conservative, policies. That's the whole point of conservatism, is to keep the status quo. What was and they talk about the 1950s as it's been a golden age. So what was the status quo in the 1950s? Discrimination. That was the status quo. Keeping black folk in their place. That was the status quo.
So I do want to address just some of the specific things that Brad Buick, or I can't see the rest of it, but brought up. So talking about this decrease of black fatherhood or black fathers in the home, because I want to be specific, after the passing of the Civil Rights Act. After the passing of the Civil Rights Act, there was a specific shift to criminality versus racism, and that criminality being specifically associated with black people and especially black men. So yes, there were economic, and by the way, the divorce after the Civil Rights Act passing, the divorce rates, single parent households went up across the board, not just for one group of people. And part of this was because of deunionization. Part of this is just because it became more economic for a father sometimes to literally live in a different state, work at a place where he could make more money and send money home. And to address the criminality part, because I don't want to talk about a lot of different things, it's those black fathers that were not in the home were in many times arrested or killed. And let's remember, at this point in time, the police force was largely inhabited by the KKK. So it wasn't just black people actually committing crimes. It was card-carrying members of a terrorist organization saying that this black person committed the crime, and they didn't always go to jail for it. Sometimes they were just in a tree that next day. So you have to really understand that a lot of these things aren't just what they are on the surface. They're being used to talk about these minority groups because they can't outright do it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna co-sign on everything that y'all saying because you're speaking the truth. And the aggravating thing about the majority of the issue is the fact that white people avoid and lie about accountability, and everything that we are discussing is literally legislative, government, and historical fact. We literally have white folks' records detailing the discrimination, the bigotry, the divisiveness in government planning, the legislation that they passed, literally barring us from certain apps. When you look at the advantages that YT, especially YT men in America, were granted since the founding of this nation, and to walk around this nation today with homeless white men crying about underperforming in education and career fields, it's your own fault.
You had every opportunity. There is nothing in America that prevents a white man from doing everything any minority group does, other than their sheer sorry ass inferiority. That is the problem. America upholds white men's inferiority while suppressing and oppressing everyone else's excellence. If it were not for these people being the way that they are, imagine the greatness that this nation would have already achieved. When you look at the fact that the majority of all of the greatness this nation has gotten came at the behest of white men literally holding other people back, that should tell you everything you need to know. So all these people sitting up here crying about whatever their issue is with other racial minorities, fuck them.
Exactly.
Raphael, you got 2 minutes.
Yeah, man. I agree with Abolists. I've heard you speak a lot of times, and I give you much respect. This guy, Christ-like, you're cool, man. I like you too. Uh, Brad's got a little work. He's got to work on himself and his community. Uh, and like I was saying, it's the hypocrisy for me that gets it. How are you going to write into the Constitution? We have a freedom of speech. We have a freedom of religion. We have the right to bear arms. But we ain't got equality and justice for all. But ain't none of that to any of the marginalized communities in America. And the little rights that we're getting now, and the strength and education that we're getting now, they're threatened by that. So they're making this move, and this move has been going on for years because they've already attacked our educational system. Uh, uh, they're promoting this white nationalist religious cult of Christianity. Uh, I don't understand how all these people are saying, "Oh, he was like, he was a martyr. He was sent from God." Talking on CK, and the stuff and the hate that he was just spewing out of his mouth. I don't understand what the people don't understand, what the people liked about him, other than the religious aspect that he threw in that hate. He mixed all that hate up with a little bit of Jesus, and bam, he got him a racist white cake. And yeah, I ain't with none of that shit, man. This is America. This is the land of the free, the land of the liberty, equality, and we were getting there. We're getting there, and don't stop it now. Let it keep going. It's just not going to be white anymore.
Oh, what everybody's saying just proved my point. I mean, you're all absolutely upset at the white race for some reason. And my grandfather was Cherokee, so I give crap less. Okay, reason why you have so much trouble in your communities, in your businesses, and everything else. You can't drive through a jewelry store. 20, 30 people get out, take everything they got, steal things off the shelf, and expect everything to be normal. People want to stay there. Yeah, that's not going to happen until you figure out and look to what you need to do. I mean, like I said, the whole family unit's got to be there. It always has. And if it's not there, then it goes further and further and further away from moral values, moral compass, education. You can do this all yourself if you want to. It all goes back to your choices. Like I said, you can't carry on and go on, expect people to just keep on giving you stuff, and you keep doing the same thing over and over. It's not going to happen. I mean, you can blame it on everybody else, but if you don't look inside yourself and fix your own community, it's never going to change. You're complaining about everybody else who's got something besides you. And the only place you need to look is yourself. And that is it. I mean, it's if you cannot control yourself, take something off a shelf, do anything else. I mean, like I said, I got poverty. I never took a thing in my life because my moral compass, my values a little bit better than that. And yeah, I knew better. But there's a certain thing missing in today's youth that says they can just take what they want. Well, I'm entitled. Mine should be mine. Well, it's not fair. He's got this. We were oppressed 70 years ago. Now it's everybody else's fault because I'm oppressed now. I mean, it's You all you gotta do is complain. You're gonna be in the same situation you are in 40 years. The same thing. That's it.
Oh, hey there. I won't stay long. I had a few comments for Brad as a fellow YT person. I wanted to hear from Brad to see, I was touched hearing how he grew up eating mustard sandwiches in poverty. I didn't have that experience. My father came from poverty. I grew up with privilege. And I'm wondering if Brad would accept that I started life at with a different set of advantages than he grew up with. I don't know if he's able to speak, or I didn't realize this was done in like a speech pattern. But the reason I'm asking Brad this question is because I wanted to invite him to consider that not everyone starts out life with the same advantages. Some people have a different situation with the parents that they're given. Some people have a different economic setup. And some people have different skin color. And we know historically from this country that we live in that plays a role. You can't deny that racism exists. And I just wanted to hear if he would agree with that. And I'm done. Oh, how do I turn this off?
Can't hear you, host.
Oh, am I still on? I'm off the panel now, correct?
I think the host.
Yeah, sorry about that. Thank you, Raphael, for mentioning that. Brad, are you there? Brad? Okay, floor's open.
No, I would just like to hear what Brad says.
Yeah, but Brad's back.
1 second.
Brad, people are leaving alive, buddy. Speak up.
Brad gonna start lying and making excuses because, like the white woman just said, when you look at the history of this
All right,
nation,
all right, all
there
right,
is
all right.
no
Whoa,
excuse for
whoa, whoa,
Brad to
whoa.
be not a billionaire.
He's back.
Yeah,
Brad, speak.
I feel like Brad is
Yeah,
a is a.
she's entitled to her opinion. Everybody go run their mouth now because they don't like what I have to
It's
All right,
not
say, and
well,
it's the
hey,
that,
truth.
Brad. That you have an opinion. We are literally stating
Yes,
fact.
I know.
Everything that we have
Oh,
said
okay,
can
yeah, I've heard her
literally
fact.
be
Yeah.
exposed through references, through government records, and through scholarly peer-reviewed data. You have an opinion. You are mad that you aren't rich like Donald Trump, and you think that it's black folks' fault that you ain't rich.
falling for his
Holy
trickery.
cow. That is very yeah, it shows exactly where you're at. So holy cow, that's something else.
I think Brad is just
I
a
just know
fellow.
I'm realist is what I am. Is
No,
what exactly what
what
I
you
am.
are is a propagandist believer in
I
a.
don't believe
Well, Brad,
propaganda.
Brad, did we start out at the same place? I have wonderful parents. I was very blessed. My father was poor growing up, but he's an engineer. He went to the military, had his college paid for, so I'm sure you approve of all of that. Now, I was
Why would I
raised.
prove? Why did he get his college paid for?
Okay, stop, Brad. Stop, Susie. Brad, did you hear Susie's questions directed to you?
Yeah, she's had a bunch of them. She's
No, no, no,
carrying
no, no,
on
no,
about.
no, no.
Oh, sorry.
Before we all came back on again.
Oh, she asked if I could agree on certain things she said and whatnot. No, we got two different outlooks on things. I mean, So, like I said, how did your dad get free education?
through the GI Bill.
Oh, okay, so he's in the government. He was a military.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I get that. Okay, that's no problem. Yeah, that's just
Okay.
fine.
Now that's and my mother came from a wealthy, privileged background. Her father owned a law firm, and she had a bought and paid for lifestyle. My parents were able to give me essentially a bought and paid for lifestyle from the get go. I didn't have to eat mustard sandwiches
Yeah, okay,
growing
well,
up,
that's
in
nice.
other words. And my heart goes out to you that you experienced that, because that sounds like a tough childhood.
No, it was a wonderful childhood. I had a couple sisters and we had a ball. But yeah, go ahead.
And so my opinion is that I had more of an advantage than you had during our childhoods.
Yeah, go ahead.
I went to Catholic school. I graduated from a high school that it wasn't, are you going to university? It was, where are you going to university? Would you say that I had an advantage over you?
Well, money wise, but not morally, no. I would do that. With me, I had a good family core. I mean, we were dirt poor, but yeah, we had good values, good morals, and worked for everything we had, and we'd help our neighbors, help everybody.
So
Yeah, I mean,
there's a variety of
there's a variety,
resources.
yes.
There's moral
Uh,
resources, there's educational resources,
But you got to
financial
make it so if
resources,
you even if you go through school, you still got to do the work, do everything else. You got to put your nose to the grindstone. Nothing's for free.
intellectual aptitude resources.
But
So,
what I'm saying, yes, you agree, so nothing's for free. You still got to put your
so,
effort in to do it, correct?
so, do you mind me asking the ages of Susie and Brad, please?
I am 51.
I'm 55.
Okay, so you're not far off.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean,
We're peers,
that's fine.
basically. We're peers, but we grew up
Not
in.
peers.
Okay,
Peers is stretching it, but go ahead.
you're probably
I
right, and
Yeah,
that
that's
proves
stretching
my
it.
point too. That proves my point too. We grew up
So
in
you're an
different
individual, just
circumstances.
like I am, just like everybody else is. You made your
Right.
own choices to what you got to do. I don't care. I had friends that made their own choices what they want to do. Everybody can make a choice. It's a choice. It's a split second decision. Do you want to do something bad or do you want to do something good? Do you want to walk away? Do you want to stay? I mean, it's your
Okay.
moral
I
compass, your decision. I mean, it is.
Okay. Let me
Everybody, go
ask you
ahead.
another question. So,
Yes, ma'am.
out of the 5 children in my, I have 4 siblings. One of my siblings is intellectually disabled and is on Medicare benefits and Social Security benefits. Does she have the same opportunity that I have, given that we were born and raised in the same household?
Well, she don't. A lot of people like that depend on the government. So I've had people my family tree it's got mental disability too, and they depend on the government because their family can take care of them. I mean, sorry. I mean that's part of life. I mean, it is what it is. You can't depend on everybody to take care. If the government wasn't there to take care of the people in our family, we'd have to do it. That's end of story. I'm not dependent on the government for anything. If I don't expect to have Social Security. I mean, it'd be nice, but if it's gone one day, then it's gone. But I'm not dependent on that. You
And
gotta think it. But
okay,
I mean, you can see, but
how about this, Brad?
you're trying to make
My
points that ain't gonna make no
family,
point
just
because
like you
go ahead. I'm
said,
sorry.
oh, I'm sorry, my family and our family's resources, along with her disability payments that she receives, take care of her. She's never had to be one of those people who's mentally challenged out on the streets.
Hmm.
Do you think that she has an advantage over some of the other mentally challenged people that you might see living like on the streets of DC before the Trump administration came in and bulldozed over those tents and
You're making a
things
perfectly
of
good
that
point.
nature?
Well, I love what you're saying right now. So, 100 years ago, there was no government to take care of your family members and such. And if you got to depend on the federal government to take care of you, well, that's something you should think about. I mean, it's nice to have these benefits and whatnot, but it's not guaranteed. Nothing like that's guaranteed. You need to have family oriented, which brings your father, your grandparents, your mother, your brothers and sisters, your uncles, your aunts. Somebody's got to come in and help if the government does not. You just can't
And if you don't
depend.
have
But hang
those,
on, wait.
if you
Well, I
don't
mean,
have the, oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. If you
Well,
don't
I mean,
have
if I don't
those,
have them, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
okay, are you ready? If you don't have those family members and resources to help, and you're mentally challenged, as a just society that has the means, should we step in and give the individual on the streets a helping hand?
Well, of course, you always, but in the same case, they got to want to take it and not. You're right on both. That's right. You are correct. Somebody should help them. I agree with that completely. So what happens if the government don't? Should the community help them out they live in?
I think there's a combination.
Well, I mean, if the government don't help, should the community help them out? That's what I'm asking. Well, I'm asking the lady, please. You're fine. I'm glad, but what do you think? If the government does not help them, should their community?
The
Absolutely.
government is a community,
Absolutely.
especially when the
The
government
government,
represents the community.
the
Brad,
government is
like
the government.
most
It,
of
What?
these
it
Hey,
takes a
people,
holy cow! You
village.
no,
It
stop.
takes a village.
Exactly,
no,
because the aggravating thing about people like Brad, they sit up here and they regurgitate all these cliche statements, but they can't
I didn't
put a
say nothing.
Brad, your
No,
entire monologue has been nothing but cliches.
I didn't say
Pull
monologue.
yourself
I
up.
answered every question.
Don't be
I'm
this.
just
Da, da, da. Yes, it is. That's literally
what
why
have
I
I said?
came
No,
on
no,
the mic.
no. Since you're so
Because you
smart, what have
want
I?
think.
What? No,
Stop,
no.
Brad. Stop.
You're
Listen.
communicating, but you're not telling me what I'm doing
Listen.
wrong. No, tell me what I'm
Listen.
doing wrong.
I can Brad, you are literally speaking cliches and then not listening to the facts that are being presented. You said if the government
Cliches.
doesn't help
Go
them,
ahead.
the community should. The
Hmm.
community is the government. Is the
No, it's
government
not.
not an elected official
They're
by the
not. No, they're
community?
not. The
You,
community is
Brad,
not. No, it's you're wrong.
it
You're completely
literally
wrong.
is.
The
Who
government is.
elects your city and
Oh my
county
goodness
commissioners?
gracious.
The community. Who elects the
Oh my
state
God.
officials?
Yeah,
Your
you
community. Who elects the
you need to
government?
read up on some
The
stuff, bud.
community of the United States elects all government officials. What happens is you have people in the community who are so poorly educated and so divisive that they don't care about everyone in the community. That's why you have racists, ableists, feminists,
Okay,
sexists.
you're just going off the
No,
rails, bud. That's
Brad,
all you're
you
doing.
won't shut
That's
the
all.
fuck up and listen.
See,
Everybody on here is
man,
literally
I ain't gonna
trying
listen
to
to shit. I'm gonna get
explain
off
to
here.
you
Host, I'll see you
what
later. I ain't gonna listen to this crap
you won't
and
stop
fussing at me.
talking. You won't stop talking and listen to anything anyone says to you.
can't accept the
Everything
truth.
is challenged and never taken as a no. You are so offended that no matter what anyone says to you, you answer in offense instead of in intellect. You won't listen.
You know what he does is he wants. It's okay for us, the community, as he says, to come together and help each other. But all along, they've been getting this government, their government help, and now
Exactly.
it's okay for our community to help us, but not the government. That's basically what he's saying. Well, damn, he done left.
Not what he's saying is it's okay for the community to pay taxes and for the government to allocate it how he wants it to be done. Like that's what I'm saying. When you talk to these racists and these all these inhumane people, they all say the same cliche shit. They'll be like, "Well, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. If you work hard, you'll get this." But then when you start explaining to them how certain people had advantages, how certain people were given opportunities, how the government literally oppressed and excluded other people and groups from this, that's when they have a problem. When they
Yeah, they don't
want to
want to hear
say,
that.
like how he just mentioned, oh, the community. You mean the community that pays taxes to the government and asks the government to do the things that the government is supposed to do for the community?
But he was talking about when community to him, to me, sounded like he was talking about like your fellow Mexicans or your fellow blacks. What are they doing for you? That's to me. That's how I took it. And yeah, he's a racist. I already know that he is an absolute racist.
Tavin, are you there? The last person on the panel. Open your mic up and speak. Okay, it's open mic.
Yeah, Brad can accept uncomfortable realities.
No, he don't want to face the truth. Is what his problem is. He just and a lot of these
Yeah,
guys,
uncomfortable truth.
they just don't want to admit what's really the problem. You know.
All
I
right.
agree.
Well, everyone's got their last words. I'm going to close off the live.
Thank you.
Shoot. What message do you
Yeah.
What message do you want out there?
Oh, my message is this. Just try not to hate, man. Try not to hate these marginalized communities and groups, and be free. That's all I'm saying.
Susie.
Yeah, engage in critical thinking. Try to, whether you're believe in the Christian faith or not, we can all take Jesus' one commandment to love your neighbor.
Exactly. I would say, if anything, learn to be human and stop allowing people to instill biases and bigotry and hate into you, where you think just because someone is another being that they deserve to be treated a way that you wouldn't want to be treated. But then when you are treated the way you think someone else should be mistreated, you want to whine. That is the problem that I have with a lot of these people. They don't mind inhumanity as long as inhumanity isn't being committed against them. Fuck them.
Nah, and can I piggyback off of that too? I always tell people because I'm 26, the older people always tell me respect is earned, not given. That why would I respect someone who said the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Like that's just wild to say, man. You gotta think about that. Like, who says that? If I said that, let's say if it was reversed. What if the Civil Rights Act was for white people because they was treated wrongly, like black people was in the past, right? What if I was to say that in reference towards white people? I'd be called a blatant racist. I'd be canceled so fast, man. Like, but no one said nothing about that. I can even I'd be showing people links of all this stuff he say. Then they won't respond back because it's his words. It's not mine. I'm not the one spreading hate. He is. That's all, bro.
All right. Thank you so much for coming through. You've just come through right at the end.
Nah, it's cool, bro. I was listening to everything. Y'all cool, bro.
Yeah, you've come through right at the end of the session. Thanks everyone for spending the morning, afternoon, the evening in this live. We're gonna circle back tomorrow or on Tuesday after we've seen any updates to the situation or US politics. We'll come back. Thank you all for coming in. I appreciate you. Thank you for all the support. I have learned one lesson today, and one lesson that I learned today is not read simple quotes, because sometimes simple quotes are missing context. And what I've understood today is that some people are saying that Charlie Kirk said this, and then some people saying, well, Charlie Kirk didn't say that. Well, why would someone say that he said this, and why would someone say that he didn't say this? This is the biggest issue for me with the world. So with that said,
Meadow. Meadow is one of the newest ones in stock, by the way. So in